Welcome, race fans, ladies and gentlemen, to the 7th round of the Bandit Racing League's 9th season. Tonight coming to you live from the Milwaukee Mile, kind of a niche track in the landscape of iRacing, a track that, after hosting IndyCar for a number of years, kind of fell off the radar a little bit in terms of modern racing series. But tonight the Bandit Racing League returns for the, as I said, 7th round of our season. Tonight at the Milwaukee Mile in the second round of the Rogue Energy Triple Header, a mini championship we have in the regular season this year that will kind of reward drivers for their top performances outside of just the traditional, usual races for points that add up towards the playoffs. But tonight is the second round of a kind of a mini championship that started a couple weeks ago at Atlanta and has since continued, and it will end at Road America in its third round in just a couple of weeks. After last week and really the week before, at both Bristol and Knoxville, two kind of crazy, chaotic races, both at short tracks, one on asphalt, one on dirt. Tonight we come back to a little bit more of a traditional track, a very flat circuit here at the Milwaukee Mile, but we'll talk more about the details of the track itself in a bit. But for now, we got to get to, first of all, we're going to start with our co-commentator, somebody that's, really just settled back into the usual groove of things from last season so far this season. And I know he will make his debut in the series in car in a couple weeks, or maybe even as soon as next week at Nashville, a track that I know he loves. But he's back, Mr. Evan Wall. Welcome back to the booth. And well, I know you were here for both of our last two races these last 2 weeks, and we had two new winners in the series and two very chaotic races. But on top of that, it was a really generally fun time. I feel like it was two races that, as chaotic as they were, in the end had great racing action. And the question is, when you go back to a little bit more of a traditional track that's probably going to be a little bit less chaotic, or should we expect that same quality of racing?
Well, you know what? Those tracks, they were chaotic, but they were a lot of fun, man. And as you said, I had a great time at both of those tracks. I think they were a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for this track tonight because even though, like you said, it's a little bit more traditional, it's still, I feel like it's going to bring good racing. We've got a lot of good drivers out here tonight. Last I checked, we had 40 drivers. Who knows? We may have even added a couple since then. I believe I've seen one connect, maybe we're at 41. Not exactly sure, but we're getting close to a full field, so we got a lot of good guys here. And I think they're going to bring some good racing.
I certainly hope so. And this track, as I said a moment ago, is comparable kind of to something like in New Hampshire, a very flat track that has plenty of passing opportunities because as it's so flat, the camber, the corners, the cars kind of tend to wash out to the edges if they start from the inside to take the defensive line, meaning that the over-under is going to be definitely something we have to watch out for, or some may call it the crossover. So that's going to be a move that I'm sure is very prevalent in New Hampshire, and those tracks that are a lot flatter and like Martinsville often create great races for those passing opportunities that I mentioned. So tonight, I hope to be something similar, and I'm sure Milwaukee Mile, especially being a track that most drivers probably don't have a ton of experience with, that should come in handy as well in creating some interesting scenarios. But before we get too far into tonight's action, and before we talk about the race in general and what sort of action you should expect in terms of the track and in terms of last week's race at Knoxville Raceway, first we got to talk about tonight's race sponsor. And first I'll thank Mr. Alan Castle, the driver who brought the sponsor of Rogue Energy to us, as well as the guy who is kind of our middleman and the guy that represents the brand for them on Bandit Racing League's behalf. But Rogue Energy, they were kind enough to sponsor this triple header championship with prizes and cash awarded to the driver that scores the most points in the three races in that championship. So just a reminder, it was Atlanta. This week it is at Milwaukee Mile, and then Road America in a couple weeks to round off the three-race schedule. So unfortunately, I know I got a comment about it as soon as the broadcast started. No trivia tonight, unfortunately, but hopefully it'll be back for round three. It just didn't come together. But again, we'll keep an eye on it in the future, and we'll see what we can do about the next round at Road America. But Rogue Energy, as it says there, the world's most delicious gaming drink. Again, unfortunately, I don't have Rogue Energy with me, but as you can see here in just a moment, they were kind enough to send me some stuff. It wasn't, again, necessarily Rogue Energy's actual products and samples, because unfortunately up here in Canada it can be a little bit tougher to get it shipped. But as you can see here, there is my lovely Rogue Energy glass. It's just water, but it's kind of what you need as a broadcaster. So they were kind enough to send me the glass, and if the drink is anything like the glass they sent me, it is some premium stuff. You see here a couple of flavors. You got watermelon, cherry limeade, strawberry kiwi, pink lemonade. They do all sorts of flavors. That's just 4 of like the 20 plus on their website. If you want to learn more about the brand itself, how to order, I know I just said it can be tough to get to Canada, but that's more so as a result of Canada during COVID rather than the brand itself. So if you're interested, feel free to look into it, see if they can ship to you and how quickly they can do so. But it's nationwide, so it's a great product. It's you'll see here in just a moment some of the benefits. I got a bit bigger slide there because I needed to give you guys some more proper info. So it's gluten-free, soy-free, 100% vegan, minimal calorie, minimal sugar. I talked about it last time we did a broadcast in the triple header at Atlanta, but it's products like these can generally have a bad reputation for being, very, very sugary, very unhealthy, very just, you kind of drink like an energy drink or you drink some carbonated beverages, and it's got that gritty, grimy taste that you feel bad to have, to have ingested, and you kind of worry about your health. Well, here you don't have to. You don't have to compromise taste or the amount of energy you get out of it just because it's a healthier product. And there you go. There's all the different sorts of brands. You got hydration, energy, shake, and extreme. So shake is more flavors like a milkshake. So, cookies and cream, caramel, vanilla latte, stuff like that. And there's all the information you need about it there. So again, look into Rogue Energy, rogueenergy.com. The sponsor is in the description. So if you need more information, go there. And thank you for sponsoring tonight's second round of the triple header. Hopefully the race tonight is good enough to justify the sponsorship. And I mean, if it's anything like Atlanta, that race was awesome. So we can only hope.
Yeah, and when you do go there, don't forget to use code Castle Esports for 10% off your order. Castle Esports.
That is correct. Yes, be sure to remember that. It's in the. We'll put the logo up again so you can see it. There you go. Go use code Castle Esports for 10% off when you do go to rogueenergy.com and try some of their awesome products. Now, before we go too far, we got to talk about last week's race at Knoxville. You saw just a moment ago where we are in the grand scheme of the country. There is the map of the United States, and we are towards the north, actually towards my neck of the woods here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home of the Milwaukee Mile. But first, like I said, let's go back to last week and do the race recap for our race at Knoxville Raceway, one of the more chaotic ones on the schedule, but certainly one of the most action-packed as well. And here we were at the Knoxville Raceway, our first dirt race of the season on August 18th last week in round number 6 of the season. Now we had 3 heat races to decide the field and to decide the order for the feature, but we won't show those. We'll just kind of skip over it and focus on the feature, the point scoring race there at the end. It was Bret Guzik on the pole, and it was Bret Guzik who dominated most of the race, but this was an early wreck we saw between some pretty major contenders. That's Jonathan Platt, Connor Zook, Curtis Yancey kind of got involved in the aftermath. Here was really essentially the battle for, the only battle in the top 5 there early in the race. This is Curtis Yancey and Aaron Smith going at it. Aaron Smith all night would prove to be troublesome when it came to his pure pace, and we'd see that a little bit more later. Here's another wreck, but instead of just being from a couple of back markers, this was a wreck that took out a major contender in the race. That's Anthony Caetano going around after tangling with Connor Zook. And there is the 2 truck of Nick Nickerson, was running second at the time when he got involved in the wreck. Had to make sort of a recovery drive all the way through the rest of the race, and did pretty well in doing so. Recovered, as you'll see a little bit later. But here is another late race wreck. I believe this is Cale Zook this time, with Peter Murphy and Ricky Hart Jr. would get involved in the aftermath. He would have a rough night overall. Just kept finding himself getting involved in stuff. But this was the battle all the way through the race for the lead. Aaron Smith and Bret Guzik. Bret Guzik led most of the race till that point, but Aaron Smith took over. Bret Guzik had tried to run that bottom line all race. Was trying to be the really trailblazer in terms of that sort of style. But this, we're just going to run the last 2 laps of the race out to the conclusion, because what a finish it was. Here's Nick Nickerson there in the 2 truck after his recovery all the way back to the lead after an earlier wreck. Got underneath Aaron Smith with 1 to go. Looked possibly like he could take away his second win of the season. But Aaron Smith would recover under the bottom, take the lead back, and this is coming through the second turn on the final lap. The 2 get together. Aaron Smith and Nick Nickerson bounce into each other. Nickerson goes around and catches Guzik with him. So even after such a great race, Guzik couldn't quite come home for the podium, and that kind of that off streak continues. Unfortunately, the hopefully one that he can maybe snap tonight here at Milwaukee Mile. But Aaron Smith would pick up the win, getting his first of the season. He was so good all year to that point. Talk about Daytona Road Course. Again, almost won the first race of this triple header at Atlanta, but he would come home for the win. Brandon Jackson would recover for a podium as well, and Curtis Yancey would take the 3rd spot of that trifecta. And there you go. Just like that, 6 different race winners and 6 different races. What a start to the season we've had so far. There are your 6 winners who have locked themselves into a playoff spot so far. Got Nick Nickerson, Trey Ellis, Benjamin Lacey, Aaron Smith II, Ricky Hart Jr., and Brandon Jackson all have a win to this point in the season. And there are your top 12 on the right side, the drivers that are currently locked in under our format. And the 3 drivers just under it in the points are the 3 drivers that are just barely out. And for a little bit more context, I will take a moment and pull up the actual championship standings here for both the overall championship and just the triple header championship here in the Rogue Energy triple header for the mini points. And on the left side there, you'll see the results here in qualifying. We'll go to a couple drivers as they run their qualifying laps. Let's go to Connor Zook, who's currently in the middle of his second attempt. Currently sits fourth on the leaderboard there in the 55. But now, Evan, I just take a moment here to pull up the championship points. We have those 6 drivers up there up at the top of the field who have already punched their tickets in with a win. And I mean, obviously in this series, if you're able to take away a win, it means clearly you know what you're doing. Clearly you have a handle on how to win in this series, how to be fast, and how to be a top talent. But are those drivers kind of just on the cut line, like Mark Allen Bivens, Bret Guzik, Tony Hilbrands, and Curtis Yancey? Is there any driver who is just out of the top of the points without a win that you think is a good chance to get one tonight at Milwaukee and become the 7th different winner of the season?
Getting a win, you've always got to talk about Kevin Foster. He's constantly at the top of the points. He's constantly running up front. He's going to get that win at some point. And really, you look at all the guys at the top, and it's conceivable that any of these guys in the top 10 in points could get a win here tonight. You've got Davey Hendricks up there, Cody Welch. Cody's always fast. Mark Allen Bivens, he's had a great season. I know you mentioned him a little bit before. And then sitting in 10th in points right now, Curtis Yancey. And Curtis Yancey, well, up until just a second ago, was our quickest guy on the board. Of course, Nick Nickerson just got the pole away from him right now. But Curtis Yancey with a 30.193 right now. So really quick time from him. I really think this race could go to a lot of people. Like, look at Ramos sitting there in 3rd position. He's not a guy that we see battling for a win all the time. He's a big top 5, top 10 guy, but he just set down a really quick lap here. So we'll have to see what he can do when he gets to this race.
Yeah, Michael Ramos has always been a really good qualifier, so it's good to see that he's keeping that just pure pace on the up, and we'll see if he can transfer it into the race tonight, like he almost did last season in a race at Charlotte, where he almost came away with the win there. But very quickly, before we get to the end of your qualifying results, just a couple more minutes to go, well, actually a minute and a half left until the end of qualifying. Aaron Smith, last week's winner, now takes over the top spot, I believe in his very first attempt, so the 42 truck should get one more try at it, but I believe he is going to come to a stop and is coasting down the backstretch. But very quickly, there were your points overall that we just showed. Unfortunately, the Perfect Shine Auto Spa logo is not showing up for one of many graphical issues that this program has had this year. But yeah, Perfect Shine Auto Spa is the sponsor of all of our informative graphics in this series. So the championship standings, just the driver information, stuff like that. So shout out to Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Unfortunately, the logo is not there. But here is your standings in regards to just the Rogue Energy triple header itself. So Aaron Smith didn't win the race at Atlanta that started off the triple header just a few weeks ago, but he did take away the most points. Thanks to bonus points, he did outscore Benjamin Lacey overall, even though Benjamin was the winner at Atlanta that theoretically won the opening round of the triple header. So there are your points coming into tonight. So that's what you want to watch in regards to just that championship. So the winner of that championship as a driver will win some cool, Rogue Energy samples and some cool products, as well as just some straight up cash, I believe, through iRacing. So always the opportunity to buy more stuff. Maybe check out that new Mount Washington Hill climb that I have heard is all the rage. Unfortunately, I haven't got a chance to try it myself, but that'll be coming up soon. So there are your points you want to watch for tonight and your top 18 in regards to tonight's championship. But of course, being a 3-race championship that we've only completed 1 race in, there's always the potential that somebody could just absolutely dominate the last 2 races, even if they weren't great or didn't win in the first race of this of the triple header. So important to keep an eye out for some of the other drivers that we may not necessarily be thinking about on that list. But there we go. Qualifying comes to an end, meaning that we can show you your final results for qualifying and get ready to go into tonight's 7th round of the season in the 2nd round of the Rogue Energy triple header here at the Milwaukee Mile. Let's get a good shot of your pole sitter, Mr. Aaron Smith. We'll be good to go. Here we go. Tonight's starting grid presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. And on the pole, as he's done, I believe, for the 2nd time this season, your last week's winner at Knoxville Raceway, the 42 of Aaron Smith. He's been so good this year. Just from the ground up, every single race he comes to, he's a threat and he's a factor. And it just proves his experience in the series and his experience in the trucks. Even if he's not an experienced Bandit Racing League driver, currently in his rookie season. To his outside, the guy that he's had plenty of good battles with so far this year, the 2 of Nick Nickerson, defending series champion. On row number 2, we got Curtis Yancey starting in 3rd. Michael Ramos did drop to 4th there late, but he has been so good in qualifying these past 2 seasons. Keep an eye on him as a potential dark horse for tonight's race. Bret Guzik tonight in the 04. He's come so close so many times, dominated early last week at Knoxville. Is tonight the night the 04 finally breaks through and gets his first win in 2 seasons? Kevin Foster to his outside in the 6th spot. Then it's Ricky Hart in 7th. Davey Hendricks, a top driver in the 21 that just somehow has yet to score a win this season, unfortunately. So keep an eye on him to potentially break up that streak tonight. Then in the 9th spot, it'll be Connor Zook and the 10 of Christopher Ferrara in the Christopher Hamilton. I'm used to the one Christopher. Christopher Hamilton makes his debut tonight in the 15 track. Oh. Okay, it appears we have lost Evan Wall for the time being, so in the meantime, I will finish up the rest of your grid. Then after that, in the 12th spot, we have, let's just go back up. In the 12th spot, Mason Flagar, Cody Welch, Cale Zook, Jonathan Platt, Christopher Ferrara, Peter Murphy, Mark Allen Pivens, Charles Oberg, and Jason Romy. There is your top 20. Unfortunately, don't have time to go through the entire grid, but you will see over the course of the race where your favorite drivers are on the trusty timing tower. And with that, we are getting set to go here. 7th round of the season and the 2nd round of the Rogue Energy triple header tonight at the Milwaukee Mile. The pace truck takes the left-hander, and a very early green flag goes. Green flag at the Milwaukee Mile. Aaron Smith II in the 42 truck will take him to the first corner with Nick Nickerson not too far away on the outside.
Yeah, Aaron Smith with a really good start there. Nick Nickerson side by side with Curtis Yancey for the 2nd position.
Curtis Yancey's had some great starts so far this season. Always a guy to watch out for at the very beginning of the race. Michael Ramos not falling too far back right now. Not only a good qualifier, but a pretty good racer so far. Curtis Yancey going to jump underneath of Nick Nickerson, it looks like. Should clear him through turn number 4. And he will, but they're still side by side. Now clears in the entry to turn number 1. Aaron Smith remains your leader. But Michael Ramos, like I said, not falling too far back. Bret Guzik right there. Really, we formed up into a really long caterpillar line as we come through turns number 1 and 2.
Yeah, we already had one guy go around. It was Caden Bailey, I believe, there in the back, but he was able to get it back going. There's, I believe that's him down in the grass, but still getting it going and hopefully won't cause any trouble for any of these guys getting into the turn 3 wide quickly as some of those guys go down into the turn. But yeah, single filed out for most of these guys, a lot of them on lap 3 of 125. Clean, and the caution is going to be out. The 11 of Bill Harkins involved. I believe Caden Bailey, the 02 involved. That's going to be Oberg.
Yes, indeed. I'm seeing a couple drivers. Thomas Fensler appears to have been involved in some capacity. As you mentioned, Bill Harkins is showing up as well. And those are the two main ones, Charles Oberg and Bill Harkins. So let's go back and see what happened to bring out the caution just a moment ago. So this is in turns number 3 and 4. The 02 of Charles Oberg just slid through turn number 3 and 4. And then just kind of hooked himself on the front nose of another truck. We're going to have to get an alternate angle on that. Maybe go back a moment earlier to Bill Harkins, who seemed to be involved in some capacity. So here's Bill Harkins, trying to tell why he would have been involved. No, so it must have started with Charles, but not really sure what went wrong there at the beginning. So the 02 truck kind of slid through the corner anyway, was already having trouble in turn 3, and then he just gets turned off the front nose of the 08 truck. I don't know, Evan, can you make any better of that, what just happened, than I can?
Yeah, I think Oberg just got a little bit loose coming into the turn there. Not exactly sure what happened, what caused him to get loose, but it seems like he got loose, and then trying to save it, he had to get down there in the grass, and then just sliding back up the track. That 08 truck had somebody pushing him. I believe that was Lacey behind him. So he didn't really have much time to slow down with guys behind him, and just got the 02 of Oberg right in the rear bumper, send him around.
Yeah, that was the 08 truck of Jason Romy that was involved as well, a fellow Canadian like myself, the only other one in the field. Yeah, the two guys just kind of a miscommunication there as to how they should take the corner, and once things kind of get thrown off here like that, you have a truck considerably off the pace, and you're trying to both navigate to the apex of the corner as they were both doing. You can kind of come together like that at times, and unfortunately it appears that is just what happened tonight. So Jason Romy will continue on. Doesn't look like he has any significant damage. I know Charles Oberg, definitely you could see there, had some pretty bad damage to the rear end of that truck, but he is just entering pit road as we speak. Tonight there on the bottom you have that little pit graphic showing what drivers have entered pit road. It's kind of obscured slightly by the timing tower right now, but you can still get the general idea of who's coming down, so we can use that tonight to tell who is taking maybe some off-schedule pit stops from the rest of the field. But there again is your race leader, Aaron Smith, with now Curtis Yancey is going to be to his outside on the next restart. We will not go to a restart quite yet. The lights on the pace truck appear to still be on, so we'll take a brief moment and go to our track preview here of the Milwaukee Mile, get a little bit more information about the circuit you see in front of you here. And for that, we'll go to Evan Wall.
Yeah, we're here at the Milwaukee Mile, America's legendary oval. It opened in 1903. The track type is a speedway, and it is 1 mile long. That's why it's called the Milwaukee Mile. 125 laps tonight, actually, so 125 miles. Turns are banked 9.25 degrees. Straightaways banked just a little bit over 2 degrees. Quickest time on iRacing It was January 17th, 2019, when someone ran a 27.954 in the trucks at 128 miles an hour, according to Dan Lisa. And next week, we'll be heading to Gateway. Actually, we won't be heading to Gateway. Next week, we'll be heading to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. I messed up there in the graphic. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but next week is Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. My favorite track on iRacing by far. I love that place. It's going to be a lot of fun, so be sure to tune in next week. But looks like we're getting ready to go green here with Aaron Smith on the pole.
We are indeed. Yes, a small schedule change. So, one more lap. The pace truck is going to take one more lap around. Just kind of a disclaimer, there are no great camera angles for up-close, tight shots here at Milwaukee Mile. So, unfortunately, making out little details like that might be harder to see than usual. But, yes, next week, Nashville Fairgrounds. Really looking forward to it. The short tracks are always fun in this series, especially the ones with a little bit of personality. Like, I really enjoyed Rockingham last year, and that was kind of a race that had that same aspect to it. And it's kind of a nice throwback track. I know it's one that they used to run, don't anymore. And I know, Evan, you talked about possibly could we be seeing you make your proper in-car debut in just a week from now.
You know what? I believe so. That is the plan. I hate to leave you by yourself up here, Marshall, but I can't pass by Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. One of my all-time favorite tracks. Now, I will probably run in the back the whole race, but I will probably be running the race. Just depends on my schedule. We'll always have to see once it gets a little bit closer, but yeah, hopefully that will be my Bandit Racing League debut. As long as I've been involved with these guys, I haven't actually been on the track, so I'm really excited to. But first, we got to get Milwaukee over with. Lap 7 of 125. Pace truck is off, and Aaron Smith already firing. Quick to the jump. Aaron Smith with a big jump there. Curtis Yancey going to be side by side. Yancey up there on the outside. The two of Nick Nickerson down to the inside, side by side as they come out of turn 2.
Yeah, the 2 truck down to the bottom, riding the curb through turns number 1 and 2. Still side by side with Yancey for the time being, but he's just going to slot back in behind him. Aaron Smith, as he did a couple times last week at Knoxville, just pulling away there through the very first set of turns, kind of just focusing on his own line. Doesn't need to worry about the battle behind him. But speaking of a battle behind, Ricky Hart Jr. has Kevin Foster to worry about. And to the inside of Davey Hendricks goes Christopher Hamilton in the 15. Tonight's new rookie. Feels like every time we have a rookie in this series, at least one that qualifies in the top 10, they make waves for themselves. And tonight, that is Christopher Hamilton. Great pass there on the bottom of Davey Hendricks. And now Tony Hilbrand's in the 92 truck trying to go with him.
Yeah, that 15 truck is really moving it. Davey Hendricks really high up there to the outside. Hamilton trying to follow the 8 of Kevin Foster. And Kevin Foster moving up quickly already.
A little ways back, it's Mason Flagar battling with the 85 of Cody Welch, returning this week after not racing at Knoxville Raceway. One of the best drivers in the series to not have scored a win yet. So keep an eye on him to see if he can punch his ticket to the playoffs tonight. But Davey Hendricks still, now he's battling.
Wrecking in the back, the 13 of Christopher Ferrara sideways.
Number of drivers involved.
Lacey sideways also.
Lacey's a huge name in this race. He was, again, the first winner of the season in the Rogue Energy triple header a couple weeks ago at Atlanta. And now he has gone out, involved in a wreck early in tonight's race. And yes, that will bring out the second caution of the race.
Yeah, a couple guys were involved in that. I believe I saw the 83 of Greenwell as well. It looked like they tried to go down into the corner 3 wide there and just really got pinched. I believe that's Haggy up there on the outside, able to skirt through cleanly, and that was a pretty big hit for the 7 of Lacey.
It was, yeah. So that was Ferrara at first here. You see the 13 truck in the blue and black on the top side of that 3 wide there, and then just kind of gets pushed. Yeah, Haggy into the side of Greenwell, and just nowhere for the 13 to go once they got all bottlenecked up. And in the checkup that then ensued, it was Benjamin Lacey getting shoved around there from behind, and not a significant lick, I wouldn't say. We'll get a replay from his perspective here and see if maybe he would think any differently. But no, here's the 7 truck coming through the corner. You see all the chaos happening there up ahead. So the 13 goes around the checkup there. Jason Romy again gets into the back of him, using the ARCA brakes there a little bit, gets in the back and sends Benjamin Lacey around pretty good. Doesn't make contact with the wall, but definitely some damage there to the back of his truck. So it's going to need to use a quick repair. And just like that, I mean, we talk about the overall standings plenty, but in regards to just the Rogue Energy Triple Header Championship, he was the first winner, wasn't quite leading the points, but that's certainly going to require a comeback race, just like we saw last week with Nick Nickerson, if he wants a chance to still win the mini championship.
Yeah, that is definitely going to require a comeback, but you know what? We got plenty of time to do it. Still over 100 laps to go here at Milwaukee, and I'm sure he has a fast repair. No way he's used it in 12 laps. So as we get double filed back up and he's on pit road, a couple other guys on pit road as well, he'll have plenty of time to get his truck fixed, get back out here, and really compete for that Rogue Energy Triple Crown Championship.
It is a really interesting proposition, and I talked about this with Alan Castle a few weeks ago when he was the profile driver for the week of that first race. But it's really interesting, the prospect of potentially guys that maybe don't think they can challenge for the entire championship as a whole, don't think they could be Bandit Racing League Season 9 winners overall, but definitely guys that could win their weeks and win certain races. And if it's particularly going to be the tracks that we run in this triple header, that being Atlanta, here at Milwaukee Mile, and then at Road America, we could see some guys kind of under the radar taking away the championship at the end of the day. So maybe we'll throw up the standings once again here in the overall championship, or sorry, I should say not the overall championship, just in the triple header. So Aaron Smith, Benjamin Lacey, Kevin Foster, Nick Nickerson, Davey Hendricks, all big names, Ricky Hart Jr., then Alex Bowser, who has really made a name for himself in the series as a top rookie in the past couple weeks, but he unfortunately isn't here tonight, it would appear. So he is unfortunately not going to be able to challenge for that crown, it would seem, unless he has an incredible final round of the series. Spencer Breslin as well, I don't believe is here, unless I am mildly mistaken. No, he's not. So a couple notable drivers missing here in the top of this order from a race at Atlanta. But some guys like David Lakey, Mark Allen Bivens could potentially fly under the radar depending on how they're able to work through the pack tonight. And you never know. Some guys could find themselves as kind of an under-the-radar pick to win it. And as well as Bret Guzik there in 15th. Not in a top spot necessarily, but somebody who, if he has a good race tonight and he's able to just fight through it at Road America, could potentially find themselves winning the championship. So keep an eye on some of those guys in that order. But, I mean, really the guy we got to talk about again in terms of just tonight's race win is a likely pick. And the guy who's already leading the mini championship here, Mr. Aaron Smith, last week's winner at Knoxville, such a fun performance, holding off multiple drivers at the end, and guys as good as Nick Nickerson and Bret Guzik. Can he do it again tonight? He's proven himself to be the quickest in qualifying, and at least on those last two stints, Evan, it looked like he was the guy that was just able to pull away and was doing something different than everybody else early.
Yeah, he was definitely quick already. You can tell that his strategy is really just to get out in front of the trouble. We've already seen some of the trouble down in the back of the pack, and that 42, I can tell he just wants to get going, get out of there, and he's done a great job of it so far. So I'm assuming once this pace truck pulls off, that's exactly what he's going to try and do again, just get out of it. But Curtis Yancey right up there to his outside, Curtis Yancey wants to be right next to him. So even though these guys seem to be slotting in single file, don't expect that for too long as the pace truck pulls off and we're going green yet again. The 42 of Smith with the big jump already. Curtis Yancey trying to follow, and Nick Nickerson down to the inside of Curtis Yancey. They're going to be single file top four right now.
Single file top four, but in the 5th and 6th position, it's Bret Guzik and Ricky Hart side by side. Here as we come by the backstretch towards turn number 3. A couple side by sides in the kind of 5th to 10th section of the field. There in the back is, I believe that's Christopher Hamilton continuing his charge through the field there. That's second of the two purple, black, and white trucks. And right behind him, Davey Hendricks trying to make something happen, down 2 spots from his starting spot of 8th. And side by side, Tony Hilbrands and Christopher Hamilton. It's going to be pretty tough racing here when it comes to the flatter track, only 9 degrees of banking. Everybody trying to dive for the apex. The trucks in the top line are really going to be squeezing down to the bottom, and that's what we're seeing here in this battle. So Tony Hilbrands, he wins from the low line, and as a result, Davey Hendricks should be able to go with him. That's a dynamic we're going to see a lot in tonight's race.
Yeah, this track is really a lot of fun in terms of the way that you race it. It's so different than a lot of the other tracks with how flat it is, because a lot of places you have so much banking, you can carry so much speed through the corners, but it's not necessarily like that here. It's just a different style of racing. As there you see almost a little bit of a bump from the 76 truck, but able to keep it clean, everybody through the corner, and really we're single filed out for a good long ways.
We are. Well, let's take a quick second look in the back of the 42 truck, and yeah, as you can see, it's just kind of like an F1 style parade going on, where everybody's just gonna kind of be content with they're sitting for a minute, try to figure the track out, try to maybe burn the tires up if they think they can conserve better than other drivers. But just to take a moment from the front of the 42 truck here, the Satellite Racing 42 of Aaron Smith, the second. Yeah, you run right to the wall as you usually do on the ovals here, and then here comes Curtis Yancey. He's going to go for a lunge down the inside. Wasn't expecting a pass there, but he's perfectly demonstrating what I was about to talk about. You really want to hug that inside yellow curbing, and then as that dark piece of pavement kind of curls off, that's when you want to follow it and kind of wash out a little bit. But there goes Nick Nickerson as well, and again, we're seeing early, Evan, that when a driver gets passed, when somebody makes that inside move, the driver behind can go with him, and that top line is just really off the pace tonight.
Yeah, definitely. This is just one of those places where you want to either be in line or you want there to be a hole. And there you saw the 42 of Smith. He got out of line a little bit, and he had to wait for a hole to get back down in line and really get back there. But then you can see behind him, there's even a little bit of a race right now. Guzik has gotten in front of Smith Hart Jr., looking to the inside of Ramos as well. Ramos was right on the bumper of the 42 truck, and then all of a sudden there was Bret Guzik and Ricky Hart Jr. to his inside. Kevin Foster looks like he's going to his inside as well. And yeah, once somebody gets to your inside, it seems like there's not too much that you can do.
Yeah, you talk about like finding a hole. Bret Guzik just made himself one a minute ago, and Ricky Hart went through it with him. Now Kevin Foster doing the same. Michael Ramos is drowning like a guy with a rock tied to his ankle, unfortunately, just as a result of really how the dynamic here goes. And Tony Hilbrands continues to find himself in a battle, this time interlocked with Christopher Hamilton, a name that I got to get used to there in the 15 truck, but he's making waves early in the...
the caution's going to be out. A huge wreck on the front straightaway.
Yeah, a couple names I'm seeing involved.
43-11. Lacey involved again.
Yeah, Benjamin Lacey not having a very lucky night tonight, unfortunately. I saw he was involved. A couple other names as well. I saw that Connor Zook was involved as well, and it didn't look like he had a ton of damage, but he's somebody I'm seeing in the chat already. He has plenty of support tonight, so shout out to all the Connor Zook fans. He had a great race last week at Knoxville, so we'll see if he can follow that up. But we got to go back a ways because a lot happened in a short period of time to bring out the caution. Seeing Hunter Henry as well, David Lakey. Let's go find out. So this is coming through turns 3 and 4. Hunter Henry gets at the back bumper of somebody there up ahead. Kind of gets him squiggly. That was David Lakey, and then, yeah, the two guys just going around as a result, kind of off the pace, off-settled the group behind, and whoa, everybody having to check up to avoid. Looks like for the most part people did. Yeah, wow. Just barely getting through it. So really, essentially, it was only Hunter Henry that was considerably involved. Let's see if we can find maybe a better angle on his truck. So here he is getting in the back of Connor Zook there. Gave him a strong tap, and then kind of got a little bit too high there on exit. David Lakey took a tap from him, but I think the guy we really got to watch there was Connor Zook, just see what happened in terms of his pace that meant that Hunter Henry was able to drive it in so deep to get into the back of him. And check that out one more time. So there he is again, getting into the back of Connor Zook, gives him a tap in the 55 truck. Actually, for the most part, he got through it. It wasn't until he wrecked the front of David Lakey and got into the side of him that he took too much considerable damage. So I don't know. We're kind of seeing it tonight, Evan, that guys are being a little bit more aggressive, trying to take the put your foot on the gas and just mash the gas approach to try to get through a wreck rather than just treating it, organically and looking for the gaps in a slower pace. And, I think tonight with the track as wide as Milwaukee Mile, sometimes we don't get all that much space to try to avoid wrecks as drivers, and we certainly did the last 2 weeks at Bristol and Knoxville. But tonight we got the wider track like Milwaukee Mile. We saw like 3 wide rows there. We're just able to get through it. So I'm kind of hoping that's the approach these guys start to take in order to get by some of these wrecks, because you have the space. You just need to slow down and use it.
Yeah, it's a wider track here tonight, but I feel like tempers are a little bit more on edge than the past 2 weeks, honestly. I wouldn't say it's easy to pass at Knoxville and Bristol and tracks like that, but it's probably a little bit easier to pass than here, where you see these guys, they get up on the outside lane and there's really nothing they can do. There's just a freight train down on the inside of them. So it seems like a lot of these guys, they really just want to try and take advantage of that, and they want to take advantage of anything that they can get. There you see guys trying to get to each other's bumper, trying to get them up out of the way, and sometimes they bump them a little bit too hard instead of just pushing them up a little bit. It pushes them up a little bit too far, gets them a little too squirrely, and causes some accidents, and then guys see people out of shape, and they're really just trying to take advantage of it tonight, because a lot of the time you're not going to be able to take advantage of it like that. It's as hard as it is to pass here.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. It's kind of the same logic that goes with Martinsville. And I know we haven't run it in this series in a long time, and there's kind of a good reason for that. It's kind of a caution central. But these flatter racetracks, yeah, you really got to find your opportunities, because the best ways to make moves are to either put the bumper to the back of somebody, which traditionally isn't a method that's used much in the Bandit Racing League, but that might just be because people haven't had the good opportunities for top spots. But it's also just because of the racing style we saw a moment ago, where if the bottom line is so dominant, if running right next to the curb is the way to go, you don't really want to stray from that. It's like at Daytona, it takes a lot of effort to form the top line, so you'd rather just do the easy thing and sit on the bottom. That's why we saw the kind of Caterpillar train style racing a minute ago that we did, was because everybody just wants to stay on the bottom, defend the curb. And if you can do that effectively, well, the only way to get by you is to do what we saw Hunter Henry just try on Connor Zook, which, again, I don't think was necessarily intentional, but passes like that might become the norm in a minute when guys really need to get to the back bumper of somebody to open up a gap for themselves, as we saw a couple guys like Curtis Yancey and Bret Guzik have to make in order to gain their spots. And speaking of which, Curtis Yancey going to take us to the next restart. 51 track has looked great these last couple weeks. Got a podium last week, took away third at Knoxville. He may be building on that momentum tonight, could become the 7th different winner of the season, and it does seem like a track that would appeal to his skill set. So Curtis Yancey will lead the field to green here. And we're getting ready to go. The pace truck about to take the left-hander onto pit road. There he goes. So it's Yancey, Nickerson in the front row, Guzik, Hart in the second, Ramos, Foster in the third. Green flag for the third time in tonight's race, and the Rogue Energy triple header second round at Milwaukee Mile.
100 laps to go here at Milwaukee, and Bret Guzik and Ricky Hart Jr. are going to be side by side. Bret Guzik going to come away with the spot. Ricky Hart Jr. back to 4th position. It's going to be Ramos in the 27 truck behind him, and guys scattering all over along the back straightaway with 3 wide. Kevin Foster down to the inside. The 92 of Hillbrands up top. The 27 of Ramos in the middle. He's going to be down on the bottom line right now. Hillbrands on his outside. That's the battle for 6th position.
Battles all over the track. Yeah, you saw a couple cars getting squiggly there that last time by on the exit at 2. That's Tony Hillbrands now going underneath Michael Ramos. So unfortunately, he hasn't seemed to be able to quite keep up his pace from qualifying, but we'll see how he does over the longer run. Davey Hendrickson behind there trying to find an opening on this 2-wide pack here that's forming up. Up front, we are still currently single file, but Nick Nickerson currently looking for a way past Curtis Yancey. He peeked the nose underneath there on the entry to turn number 3, wasn't able to execute properly, but we'll see if he's just kind of maybe waiting it off a little bit and trying to put some laps in before he really thinks about a move. But Tony Hillbrands, again battling, this time with Michael Ramos. Feels like he's constantly found himself on the underside of a 2-wide battle, and if it's really choking up his apex entries, might burn up tires better than, or worse than the rest of the field a little bit quicker. Now Davey Hendrick's going to go with him. Michael Ramos really needs to find a way to that bottom line, because if he keeps getting passed by other trucks, he's going to have a rough first stint here tonight at Milwaukee.
Yeah, Michael Ramos, just from the beginning of the race, he's gotten stuck on that outside lane consistently, and it's just hard for him to find a way down, and I don't see when he's going to get down anytime soon. He's got the 15 there to his inside, diving inside of him. The 92 now up on the outside as well. Davey Hendricks to his inside, so it's going to be a little bit tough for Hillbrands and Ramos, and I believe that is the 72 behind them as well. These guys on the outside lane, it's just going to be a little bit tough for them to get down, as we've been talking about all night, really, and I feel like that's going to be a story the rest of this 100 laps.
Ramos finally is able to get to the bottom, though. He does get by Tony Hillbrands, and now I think Cale Zook is going to go with him. Yes, indeed, and the 85 of Cody Welch as well, trying to make that inside line work. So it's going to be the 44 Cale Zook, the slightly more successful Zook tonight for all you Connor Zook fans. Whoa, Tony Hillbrands getting turned in the back there. All of his weaving throughout the field has finally came and bit him, and he's still on track. He's still on the runoff road, gets back up to speed, no caution. But we may have to go check and see what happened there, because there like you said a couple minutes ago, Evan, there are some tensions tonight, and we are seeing the results of it. And now 3 wide, Hunter Henry going to go up the inside of both himself, and I believe that is the 05 of Nolan Gross.
Yeah, Tony Hillbrands and Mason Flagar got together. Mason Flagar immediately coming over the voice chat and apologizing there. So obviously the 72 at fault, getting into the back of Hillbrands. But yeah, immediately apologizing there. There you see that Hillbrands was battling with Cody Welch. The 72 just came up the track a little bit, got into Hillbrands. Great job from all these guys to save it and keep it green here.
Yeah, unfortunate for Tony Hillbrands. He's had some rough luck so far this season. Up to the front, though, after that replay. What has happened up front? Nick Nickerson now leads the race. Bret Guzik in second. He's moved up 3 spots since the start. Curtis Yancey moved up 2 spots at the start of the race, went to the point, and has now dropped back once again. Ricky Hart behind him. Kevin Foster, there is your top 5. Michael Ramos now down 5 spots to 9th. But some significant change up here up front in the top 3 spots. And that front pack of 4 is taken off. It's just kind of a line there. Kevin Foster, and then nothing for quite a while.
Yeah, a lot of guys are single filed out right now, just riding around here at Milwaukee, trying to tick these laps off. But that doesn't mean that guys aren't racing at all. There's plenty of racing going on all over the track, even though they're single filed out. A couple of guys double wide right now, the 83 and the 10 of Matt Crockett. Matt Crockett now stuck up there on the outside, just a little bit back. But yeah, other than that, pretty single filed out right now.
Well, see, if this were 2 different drivers up here leading the race, I might try to, stir up some drama a little bit from last week's, as you saw in the race recap, a bit of an occurrence from Knoxville in the last lap where it was Nick Nickerson spinning down in front of Bret Guzik that ruined his race. And, you could argue if it was any 2 other drivers that maybe were a little bit more hot-headed, there might be some trouble here. But, Bret Guzik, Nick Nickerson, they're two veterans of the series. I know they have a ton of respect for each other. Two super talented guys. That just kind of is how racing works, and it's probably the only time I've ever seen those two guys get together in a race. So they're two guys that respect each other a lot, and I'm sure that won't kind of rear its ugly head once again. No more drama in that pairing of two. But right now, Bret Guzik kind of playing second fiddle to Nick Nickerson, sitting just behind, maybe waiting for his opportunities. And Nick has really been the guy of the two last season that, despite the fact that they were very similar in terms of qualifying results, it was only Nick that was coming away with the wins. Bret didn't score a win in last year's series, I don't believe. So this might be the opportunity. This might be where Bret Guzik really gets a chance to prove himself as a guy who can finish races and who can translate his top pace into some top results. And right now, he is getting right to the back bumper of the two truck. Let's go to the back bumper there and just see how close Bret Guzik gets on corner entry.
Yeah, Bret Guzik and Nick Nickerson, they're two really fast guys. And not only do they both have a lot of respect for each other, but I can't think of a time where I've seen either one of the two of those guys mad. They're two of the calmest racers that I've seen. So much respect between those two guys, and they race so well apart, but they also race so well together. So anytime these two guys are at the front, it's going to be a good race.
And right now, again, as we kind of saw a couple minutes ago, with how dominant that bottom line is, as long as Nick continues to protect and Bret can't get good enough of a run to jump underneath, Nick might be able to hold on to this spot for as long as he wants, or at least until we get a caution or another pit stop. But right now, it is just the two in the 04 show. Ricky Hart Jr. is to move past Curtis Yancey. He's not doing too bad for himself either. Curtis, over these longer runs we've seen in the past, can have a little bit of trouble with tire conservation. So maybe that's what we're seeing right here is an issue. But my question I was going to ask, and we can see based on the positives and negatives there, Aaron Smith II, what has happened to him? He's currently running in 25th, just passing Tony Hilbrands now. I may need to check if he's had to take a pit stop, or maybe he's on an alternate pit strategy for something. But right now, currently sitting in 25th, Aaron Smith has dropped back considerably.
Yeah, if only we had a pit road reporter. We need somebody that we can go ask that to. We'll have to figure it out as the race goes on. Maybe once the race is over, we can get a little bit more information there. Maybe if some of you guys are in the comments know, but we're wrecking the 84. Going to be turned around in turn 3.
David Lakey would be involved. Yeah, let's go back to him. He's already had some troubles after getting involved in that earlier wreck. Whoa, he's merging right back onto the track in front of the leaders. That could have been dangerous. Fourth caution comes out just in time before that was able to get dangerous. But wow, that could have ended considerably worse. I'm glad that didn't get too bad. Let's just take a quick moment here while I got this up and just figure out what happened there with Aaron Smith. Did he take a pit stop? It would appear he did. So Aaron Smith has pitted. That explains that away. But what happened to David Lakey there, and why was he having so much trouble there just getting the truck turned around and back on track? Because that could have been bad if the leaders were involved. But here he's coming down to turn number 3. Here's David Lakey in the 84 truck. It's Jason Romy again gets into the back of somebody. The 08 truck has been having a rough night there. Gary Wright getting involved as well, the driver from Pflugerville, Texas. The two guys getting together. And the 84 truck just kind of a casualty in the aftermath. And, I mean, he picked the best time possible to merge. But, again, unfortunately, sometimes you just kind of wait it out. And, unfortunately, I think the 84 truck will lose a lap regardless of his efforts.
Yeah, I think they were hoping that the 84 could get back together without throwing the caution, but where he was at in the track, they just had to go ahead and throw that yellow flag. But you know what? It's going to be a good time for these guys to come to pit road. As there you see the replay again. There you see Romy and Lakey getting together. But yeah, a lot of guys on pit road. Aaron Smith on pit road. Pretty much everybody on pit road right now.
Yeah, essentially Nick Nickerson probably should win the battle. Bret Guzik's going to come close, though. The 2 truck just pips the 04 off. Jonathan Platt did not pit, so the 43 truck will cycle to the front at least, and he'll be on presumably older tires. You get 3 sets of tires, and this should be a 3-stop race, so I'd imagine we won't see too much tire strategy coming into play tonight. But Curtis Yancey will come out of the pits 3rd. Davey Hendricks will gain a couple spots. He'll move up to 4th in the pit road order, 5th overall. Then Benjamin Lacey after that. Christopher Hamilton, who's still doing well for himself, making his debut tonight. Kevin Foster in 8th. Eddie Hagee here in 9th in the 97 truck. Then it's Cody Welch in the top 10, who's moved up a couple spots since the beginning. Let's go up front to Jonathan Platt, who is staying out, so will not come down pit road. Should become this race's effective leader, provided he doesn't pit late. I know sometimes guys will pit late for like a pit strategy thing, but I believe he should effectively cycle out to become the race leader. And as well, further back in the field, Ricky Hart Jr. has gone all the way to the back. I don't know. Maybe he tapped with or tangled in that wreck late there, but He pitted on the second lap, and as a result is going to lose a considerable amount of time. I might even be seeing that he's already lapped down, so missed out there on what happened to Ricky Hart Jr., but has had some really terrible luck these last couple weeks. He's got to be very thankful that he got a win a couple weeks ago when he did.
Yeah, Ricky has done better this week than he did last week. Last week, he really just got caught up in every single yellow flag that there was. I think we counted it after the race, and there were about 1, maybe 2 that he wasn't caught up in. So just really bad luck for him last week. He's wanted to try and turn it around this week. He hasn't done the best job so far, but you know what? He hadn't done a terrible job either, and there's still plenty of time left in this race. So, yeah, this fourth caution, though, the guy that I'm really going to be watching is that 43 of Jonathan Platt, not pitting, staying out here on the caution. Everybody behind him is going to be on fresh tires, and there he is coming down pit road right now. So he won't be staying out, getting that truck fixed up, and it is going to be the 2 of Nick Nickerson that will lead us to green here.
Yeah, I was going to say, with that considerable damage, there is going to be a massive stack up here on the restart if he stays out. So glad that he made the decision to come down pit road and is just going to think about the long-term race rather than leading a couple laps. Although we did lead some laps there under caution, so bonus point there for the 43 truck. Probably not a bad strategy in the grand scheme of things if he was going to the back anyway, but I believe it's 1 to go. The lights on the pace truck are off, so we are getting doubled up, stacked up, and set here for the 4th caution restart here at the Milwaukee Mile. It's been a fun race so far, but really the main storyline is going to be how can guys find a way to fight that bottom line, the guys that are just able to defend and protect and drive right against the yellow apron there. How are guys going to find ways to make passing opportunities? And I've said in the past, we've never seen a bump and run pass for the win on the final lap in this series as long as I've been here. Tonight could potentially be the night, but here we go, getting ready, doubled up, stacked up. Nick Nickerson is the control truck. The pace truck going to take the left-hander onto pit road. There he goes. So Nick Nickerson, a very early green flag traditionally here, and it'll happen again. Good jump for the 2, good jump for the 04, but even better for Curtis Yancey. He's going to jump underneath Guzik into turn 1, and Davey Hendricks, keep an eye on the 21, might go with him.
Yeah, guys are a little bit more spread out on this restart than some of the others. It's going to be a little bit easier for guys to go single file, but a little bit back, we got 3 wide. Ramos in the middle of 3 wide. The 3 truck down on the bottom.
Yeah, multiple rows of 2 wide now. Mason Flagar there to the inside of, trying to tell who that is. It's pretty far away here, but we're seeing Eddie Hagge involved in a battle with Benjamin Lacey, who I believe might be a couple laps down. No, he has recovered now, so sitting in 9th, Benjamin Lacey, good comeback drive for him so far, but that's Ramos to the inside of the 27 of, to the outside of the 13 of Christopher Ferrara, so battles all over the track. Brandon Action Jackson sitting there in 10th. He's down to the inside of Benjamin Lacey, trying to look underneath Eddie Hagge potentially. Might think about making that move, and he does, gets underneath to the bottom, but the question is, will the 97 have the better run off the corner? Doesn't look like he will provisionally so far, but the 13 truck of Christopher Ferrara trying to go with him. Maybe a bit of a tap to the 97. There were 3 wide again on the entry to 1. Who is going to back out, if anybody? And it's going to be the 7 of Benjamin Lacey, who thinks better of it. That'll give Peter Murphy a spot. So lots of, whoa, the 97 goes sideways. Maybe a tap from Michael Ramos. So Ramos will move up as well. Ferraro will go with him. Murphy and Smith were 3 wide. Aaron Smith, after an early pit stop, earlier than the rest of the drivers on the cycle, he puts it 3 wide, trying to recover. But we've seen in the past, this can be a dangerous spot for the leaders to drive right here in the dangerous midfield.
Yeah, the 42 of Smith with a huge move there and a great move. Peter Murphy looking to go to his inside right now, though. Peter Murphy going to send it in there. He's just barely going to be to the inside, and Peter Murphy might have the run off the corner here now that he's got that inside lane. He's going to be trouble for the 42 of Smith. But what I was going to say before, great move there from Smith, trying to get himself out of trouble. He put himself in trouble, but he got himself out of trouble.
And now Peter Murphy going to look underneath, and he will get the pass done here through 3 and 4. So nice move for the 38 truck, showing up, last week's race winner. He is looking good tonight. Peter Murphy already up 5 spots from the start of the race. Aaron Smith technically down 12 there, although, again, keep in mind he is effectively on a different pit strategy. Further back, though, a couple guys going around. We're seeing Jason Greenwell involved, Tony Hilbrands as well. A couple guys who have already had some rough nights. It only gets worse. That's Jason Greenwell, I think you're looking at right there in the 83 truck. The man that I accidentally called pompous himself, the best-dressed man in the series. And he has gone around tonight for, I believe, the 2nd time. I believe there was already a little bit of cosmetic damage to that truck. So to the replay, we'll see what brought out our 5th caution of the night.
Yeah, trouble between the 76 of Bivens and Lakey. Both of those guys, or maybe that was Ramos and Bivens, exchanging some words over voice chat there.
Well, a couple of drivers here were involved in the first iteration of this wreck. So Jason Greenwell got together with Tony Hillbrands, a couple guys who have already experienced some contact tonight, just behind Aaron Smith, who was lucky to get out of this little incident. But somebody in the background there got caught up in the immediate aftermath. Somebody took a hard lick off the outside of Jason Greenwell. We'll have to get maybe a better idea of who that was. Again, these camera angles are a little bit wide. Doesn't unfortunately give us much to work with. But let's see, back to just a moment before. So this is on the entry to the corner here through 1 and 2. Here is Hillbrands getting into the quarter panel of Greenwell. Looking in the background, was that Matt Crockett? Who is that there in that truck to the outside? Was it Matt Crockett? Maybe not Jeffrey Dorhofer. There's so many drivers running similar trucks these days in the series, so somebody getting involved there in the aftermath and putting it in the wall. I think it might have been Matt Crockett, but looks just a little bit different. So kind of playing a game of I Spy here, trying to find trucks, but I mean, that's kind of been the race it's been so far now. 5 cautions in 50 laps, averaging 1 every 10 laps. Again, we compared it to Martinsville earlier, and I think these flatter tracks, as great as the racing can potentially be because of that outside the line getting opportunities on the runoff out of the corners, it also means that we can have some miscalculations here in the braking zones, as we just saw with Hillbrands and Greenwell. And you got to wonder, Evan, as the race goes on, as people keep seeing cautions come out, as the tempers build, and I know people really just want to run some green flag laps, do you think drivers are artificially going to get a little bit safer with their approach to the corners, and do you think that's going to make passing even tougher to do?
You know, I tell you, I really don't think that guys are going to get safer, because the mentality of the driver, or at least most drivers, is going to be, I'm not the one doing something wrong. It's the other guys that are bringing out the caution. I'm still going to be aggressive. And even if you are the other guys, or even if you aren't the one causing the caution, it's the other guys, and you're aggressive, that could still be you causing the caution. That's just the way that drivers think. I feel like usually guys aren't necessarily going to change the way that they drive. If they're racing aggressive, they're going to keep racing aggressive, because they're trying to get up there. They're trying to win. Every single one of these drivers here wants to win. So I really don't think it's going to do much to change it. But just a real quick, a little shout out, Brandon Jackson put in the comments on iRacing content. So if you want to hear some funny content, go to Street Boss 24 on Twitch. Now, warning, I wouldn't watch that if you have any small children with you or anything, but if you want to hear some guys with tempers flaring, probably Brandon Jackson himself, go ahead and go to Street Boss 24 on Twitch, and there you'll see all kinds of action. But you know what? Make sure to do it on a different device. Go ahead and keep this YouTube stream open as well. Yeah.
I wouldn't even watch that stream if you have kids like on your street. Like if you have kids within your like 10-mile radius, probably don't watch some of the choice words that I'm sure are going on in the drivers chat. Not necessarily Brandon. He's a stand-up guy in his own right. We had him in the booth last week. He's fine. But man, if it's anything like the racing we're seeing on track, the words exchanged in behind the scenes are always worse. So I would say, yeah, it'll be certainly fun to watch, but yeah, maybe it's a certain audience sort of thing to watch that kind of thing. But Nick Nickerson, Bret Guzik, Curtis Yancey, Davey Hendricks, and Christopher Hamilton making his debut tonight remain your top 5. The pace truck about to take the left-hander onto pit road for our 5th restart of the night, lap 52 of 125, in the Rogue Energy triple header second round at Milwaukee Mile. Much better jump from Bret Guzik and Curtis Yancey. Going to be a fun battle through 1 and 2.
Yeah, great jump from all these guys. Bret Guzik battling hard on the outside line. They're going to be side by side, Bret Guzik and Nick Nickerson, but Nick's going to have the run down there on the inside line. We'll see if Bret Guzik will be able to slot himself in, and I think he will. Bret Guzik's going to fight back on the outside of the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Nickerson to the inside. The 04, Bret Guzik on the outside, and the 51 is going to go to the inside of Guzik as well.
Yeah, the 51 Yancey just powering his way through. I thought he might turn the 04 truck there on the exit because he kind of got under his corner panel. But Bret Guzik, still from the top line, he's able to carry more speed, and he's still caught on the traction there on the lower end of the apex. So nice work from Bret Guzik, making the top line work. Maybe proving there's more to it than meets the eye, but Curtis Yancey kind of just in the catbird seat waiting to see if something goes wrong up here. And a little ways further back, Aaron Smith continuing his run through the field, looking to the inside of a couple drivers. This time it's Michael Ramos through turn 3.
Yeah, all these guys battling really, really hard, especially up here at the front. And now look at Curtis Yancey going to slot himself into second position. Bret Guzik down to the inside. I believe he is going to have the position on him. He is. Bret Guzik is to the inside of Curtis Yancey. Curtis with the run, though, off of the corner. Looks like he's going to come away with second position. But look at Davey Hendricks sitting there right in fourth position looking to pounce.
Yeah, props to Bret Guzik there. Did not want to give up, but he has to watch out because, as you say, Davey Hendricks right there. And no, it looks like the 51's going to go too high through 3 and 4, so back up to second goes Bret Guzik. And this may be Davey's opportunity. Looking right down the back bumper there, the 51 truck of Yancey. Davey Hendricks from Jacksonville, Florida, has 2 wins in the series in the last 2 seasons. This could potentially be number 3. He is looking good. And he kind of has his opportunity to just wait, pick his moments, and then go with whichever driver is sitting there on the lower line at any given moment in this battle.
Yeah, we're watching this battle up front, but keep an eye on the 85 truck of Cody Welch. If you're looking at the graphic on the left-hand side, it says he's the 99 truck, but don't pay attention to that. He's the 85 truck of Cody Welch. That is Brandon Jackson's 99, but Welch is working his way up through the field in that 85 truck, all the way up to 5th position right now, and he looks like he's about to start working on the 21 of Davey Hendricks.
Just trying to take a quick moment here to fix that before it gets too annoying, because that is going to be a very key driver to watch tonight in Cody Welch, so we'll get that fixed up here momentarily. But yeah, up front, the battle between Guzik and Yancey continuing. Hendricks kind of running about a half line lower, and it might work here right now. Down to the inside of Curtis Yancey he goes. Should get the move done here into turn number 1. So again, it's seen, as we've seen in the past, Curtis Yancey so quick in terms of pure pace, moment to moment, but he can really have some troubles here on the longer runs, and I think that's what we're seeing once again, unfortunately.
Yeah, right now Yancey to the inside of Hendricks, side by side as they dive down into the corner. Yancey's going to be to the inside. Hendricks is going to be on the outside. This is the battle for 3rd position, and they're swapping it back and forth. It looks like the 51 truck of Yancey is going to have the run. He will. Yancey coming away with 3rd position. Out front, though, Nick Nickerson and Bret Guzik are kind of driving away up there.
They are, yeah. Before it was Aaron Smith that seemed to have seemed to be the guy that just had a handle on the track better than anybody else. But now Nick Nickerson looking comfortable, running the apexes, washing out there towards the wall. He's just seemed to be dialed up, kind of in a groove. And Bret Guzik as well, a couple car lengths back. Doesn't look like he's quite got the run that Nick Nickerson is out of the corners, but he seems to be a guy that can kind of learn over the course of races. I know he's a very I don't know. He's got experience, and he's a guy who's always looking out and trying to improve. You know, Bret Guzik changes his line over the course of races, but right now, Cody Welch, he just got Davey Hendricks, and now he might get Curtis Yancey as well. Christopher Hamilton trying to peek his nose in as well. The 15 truck, the newcomer, watch out for him. I just want to say, Evan, there are a lot of aggressive driving types in this little pack. This could get nuts in a hurry.
Yeah, every single one of these drivers is fairly aggressive. Cody Welch, Curtis Yancey, Davey Hendricks, Brandon Jackson, and then Kevin Foster in the back, as he always is, ready to take advantage of one of these crazy drivers making a mistake. You see Cody Welch to the inside of the 51 of Curtis Yancey, side by side going through the corner, and it's the 15 truck and the 21 side by side directly behind them. Looks like the 85 of Welch is going to have the advantage coming off of the corner. Welch going to come away with 3rd position. Yancey back to 4th.
Hamilton trying to go with him as well. Finds a way under Curtis Yancey. Gets just enough room there to peek underneath. Now Curtis Yancey might find himself as the guy up top kind of stranded out there because, well, once Curtis Yancey gets passed by, it was Christopher Hamilton, now Davey Hendricks. He's also got Kevin Foster coming up quick. Now he is going to slide in, and I think just gave the position there to Davey Hendricks down to 1 so that he could slot back into the inside. That was a nice move if it was intentional there by Curtis Yancey. So maybe starting to think a little bit more big picture. And as we come to the halfway point in this race, we will be at the halfway point next time by. You're starting to see, I think, guys learning and maturing a little bit and starting to figure out, okay, if I don't want to lose too many spots and find myself 5 spots down on one single lap, I really got to think about the longer term race and just wait for guys to make mistakes, because as we saw a couple laps ago, some of the guys kind of drifting up there mid-corner as they started to wash out towards the outside of the on the exit of the turn. Might not be a bad idea to just wait and see if something happens in front of you. But Curtis Yancey now entirely falling back, dropped a couple of car lengths that last time by to Davey Hendricks. So that pack from 3rd to 5th here between Welch, Hamilton, and Hendricks, maybe just a step better than the guys behind them. But now Christopher Hamilton again making his debut tonight. We know nothing about him, but he's looked comfortable with passes so far in the 15 truck underneath Cody Welch. Nice move there, and Davey Hendricks will try to go with him.
Yeah, and the thing that we're going to want to remember right now as we watch this battle between Hendricks and the 85 of Welch, this battle for 4th position, the thing that we're going to want to remember is tire strategy and fuel strategy. As always in these Bandit Racing League races, tire strategy and fuel strategy usually comes into effect It's lap 64 of 125, and you don't know what these guys' strategy is when it comes to tires and fuel. You don't know who's saving. You don't know who's running hard. Right now, it looks like Nickerson and Bret Guzik are both running really hard. If I had to assume, their strategy is just to kind of push, try and get as much space in between them, and they're probably going to hope that this run goes green for a while. I would have to assume some of these other guys may be hanging in the back. Who knows? Brandon Jackson back here, Ramos back here. Some of these guys, they could just be saving tires, saving fuel. I don't know. So that's going to be interesting once it gets toward the end of this race. It's lap 65 of 125. Once we get back to the end, it's going to be interesting to see these guys that get faster and come out, seemingly come out of the middle of the pack.
Bret Guzik down into turn number 1, peaks underneath, and out of nowhere finds the speed necessary to pass Nick Nickerson. He really picked up the pace those last couple laps, and there he goes. Will take over the lead. So the 04 truck, just like he did early last week at Knoxville, finds himself back at the head of the field, and now is the question, how long can he keep it up there? But yeah, as I just showed a moment ago there on the pit stop graphic, it's been 25 laps since drivers pitted on lap 40, at least most of the guys up front. I'm seeing Charles Oberg has crashed somewhere on track, so we'll have to go to him, see if maybe it brings out a caution. There he is on the top line, so something has gone wrong for the 02 truck, trying to get back up to speed there. He's good on the outside line, so we'll take a quick moment to go get a replay and see what happened to him. He was 3 wide with Roman Henry and Jeffrey Dorhofer. He's the truck in the middle here coming down through turn number 1 and just, tried to clear himself off the nose of the 70. I don't know if there was some pre-existing frustrations, but
I don't think he knew that. It looked like from that entry that he may not have known that someone was down there to his inside. He took that entry in like he was the only car down there on the bottom. So I would have to assume that he didn't know somebody was down there on the inside of him, and unfortunately got him turned around.
Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes. And those wider entries where only the bottom line is really ideal, multiple guys are going to dive for it, and just like that, you find out pretty quickly that you're not always going to win those altercations. So he is unfortunately going to have yet another wreck. I think he's a couple laps down at this point in the race, but he has gone back to pit road, and he can repair whatever damage he took just a moment ago and try to get back out there. But Bret Guzik out front, looking good. Almost a second clear of Nick Nickerson in again. I don't mean to jinx it. We talk about it all the time, Evan. But man, for a guy who is so quick in qualifying, puts down so much time through the week in practice, has so much experience both in real life, short oval racing and in the sim, Bret Guzik is a guy who surprisingly hasn't taken away a win in the last couple seasons, and this could potentially be the night. It's looking as good as it was last week at Knoxville before some late cautions kind of threw his race into jeopardy.
Yeah, it's every single week I feel like we talk about that 04 truck of Bret Guzik, and it's crazy that he hasn't got a win anytime this season or the last couple of seasons, really. Is this going to be his day? We'll see. He's dealing with some lap traffic right now, going to the inside right now, trying to pick these guys off. There's the 08 truck. We've seen him involved in a couple of accidents. Bret Guzik looking to pick him off, put him a lap down or another lap down. I'm not sure if he is one already, but yeah, lap 70 of 125. Bret Guzik's doing a good job. Knock on wood. I'm always as impartial that I can be, but man, I want Bret Guzik to get a win.
Yeah, I got to be honest. So do I, man. He puts so much work in the series. He's been here so long and just runs so well that to finally get a win to justify his efforts would feel like when Ricky got his last, the last race of this. No, not the last race of this triple header. I think I'm off a little bit with my races, but he won somewhere in the last couple weeks. It was at Bristol, and that felt really good after such a long drought there, where it felt like he could be getting wins but wasn't quite. To finally get that win is great to feel, and I know it definitely improves the driver's confidence. Here's Christopher Hamilton, who has now jumped into the top 3, and he had another rookie making his debut, looking good.
Yeah, not too much going on track right now. Oh, we got a wreck. The 3 of Connor Sawyer is going to be around.
Here is Connor Sawyer. I saw Gary Wright as well was a name involved, and those are the only 2 showing up on my telemetry, so clearly the incident was pretty short-lived, and the caution was just kind of a formality. Here's the 6 of Gary Wright here on the entry to turn number 3. That's the 3 truck of Connor Sawyer in behind him, and yeah, a little too hard on the gas there, you can see, or either that or he checked up early. I can also kind of identify, based on the way that he turned the truck, that Gary Wright, after that initial contact, looked like he was trying to put the 3 truck in the wall there. Yeah, so he gets into the back bumper, goes a little bit too quick, and yeah, Gary just kind of got in the gas, put it hard right, and tried to put him in the wall there. The tensions, the built-up animosity, it's starting to come out, and I think as we get just past the halfway point here in tonight's event, we're going to see that more and more. But here's Gary Wright, Yeah, you can see there wasn't a lot of attempt to try to not put him in the wall there. So guys are getting frustrated, and just yet another race yet another casualty of these guys a little bit further back in the field, just trying to stay on the lead lap, are still going to have that aggression because again they do want to stay on the lead lap. But yeah, tonight's kind of bringing out the worst in people a little bit here tonight, and hopefully that doesn't translate up to the battle for the lead.
Yeah, I'm sure that Gary Wright wouldn't say that that's what he did, but it sure looked like to both of us that Gary Wright was saying that if you're going to wreck me, I'm going to make sure that you get wrecked too. Here you can see everybody on pit road now, lap 74 of 125. These laps are ticking down here at the Milwaukee Mile, and it's been a great race so far, and I feel like it's just going to be a great finish here tonight. Bill Harkins, the driver out front, Ricky Hart Jr., Gary Wright, Nick Nickerson, and Bret Guzik going to be the top 5 right now, but we'll see how it cycles out once some of these guys presumably come onto pit road, I would have to assume.
Yeah, Bill Harkin's not going to cycle out to the lead in the grand scheme of things, I would imagine, when all is said and done, because I'd imagine he will have to come down pit road for a service this time by, but he'll get the bonus point for leading a lap. And important to mention, I think Ricky Hart Jr. just tried to pit, but as you saw there on the pit lane camera, he did, I think, go through his box, and yeah, he's going to have to go down pit road once again, so tried it last lap. I think he forgot where his pit stall was, and I saw him just drive straight out the front of the field, and I was thinking, well, that's pretty impressive to make up that much time there and win the race off pit road. Then I realized he didn't actually pit. So there we go. He'll get a second attempt, and now he'll go down pit road. But the winner on the race off pit road of those who did just pit here on lap number 75 was Nick Nickerson. He pipped Bret Guzik by 1 spot, and again, it's those little things that they don't make a ton of difference comparatively to just lap by lap pace, but stuff like in laps, out laps, and even under caution, how well you're able to enter your box, those little pieces of time, those tenths of a second, can make all the difference. And now Nick Nickerson finds himself as the control truck on this next restart, provided Bill Harkins does pit, which we'll see. Let's check his pit strategy here tonight so far and see what the last time he pitted was. But yeah, these are the little mistakes that, you know, for guys like Bret Guzik who can find themselves getting in bad situations, not necessarily by any fault of their own, they can often find themselves getting in trouble thanks to one little mistake like that, and maybe losing even 1 spot in a pit cycle could make the difference with 50 to go. We've seen it happen before, but here is Bill Harkins, who did not pit, and he pitted on the same lap as all these guys on lap 40, the same guys that just pitted a moment ago, 33 laps later. So he's only going to have like 7 laps of fuel left. It's going to be a short stint in here for the driver, the number 11, but he's been in racing a long time. He's got some experience, and I'm going to assume there's some method to his madness here.
Yeah, you know, Bill may just be banking that there's going to be a caution coming out. He knows that cautions breed cautions, and it's a big risk, but obviously that 11 truck was in the back, and he's trying to do something to make that up, and it's a risk that he wants to take, obviously assuming that there's about to be a caution that comes out. And I guess he wants to be up in the front of it, and hopefully there'll be a caution before he's going to have to pit again so he doesn't have to pit under green. But these guys are double filed up. The 11 truck of Harkins down on the inside. He's going to lead us to green. The 2 truck of Nick Nickerson, first row on the outside, followed by Zook in the 44 and Bret Guzik in the 04.
Yeah, Kale Zook has definitely moved his way up through the field tonight, up 11 spots here from 14th after qualifying, all the way up to the inside of the second row. But Bill Harkins, the control truck, defending champion Nick Nickerson to his outside. Right behind them, Bret Guzik already getting a little bit aggressive down to turn number 1. Almost sends it 3 wide. Nickerson will clear. Guzik will go with him. Bill Harkins falling back. That inside the line just does not get going through turns 1 and 2. And we got a wreck in the back. Hillbrands.
The 92, Platt.
Yes, indeed. Hillbrands, Platt involved. A couple other drivers having to check up. Who was that just pulled off there? I know Jason Romy, I think, dipped out for a minute. Don't know whether that was internet or what, but there you go. Caution number 7. Cautions breed cautions. What do we always say, Evan?
Yeah, cautions definitely do breed cautions. Romy, I don't know what happened there after the race. It looked like he got spun around and he was stopped, and then I don't know if his pedal stuck or something, but slammed right into the 43 truck after it was all said and done. But it looks like they were 3 wide right there. And that 43, I don't think they knew that they were 3 wide. The 43 went around, the 92 went around. Yeah, hearing what they're saying on the voice chat, they did not know they were 3 wide. Platt didn't know that there were 2 guys on the inside of him. The 92 of Hillbrands, he tried to give room, and just everybody trying to give room and not realizing that there wasn't room to give.
And here's Jason Romy here in the aftermath. Let's see what happened with the 08. I just don't know what happened. Yeah, like he was on the gas all the way through. He's his reaction to things happening in front of him all night has been a little bit unusual, but yeah, just kind of found himself getting stuck in the aftermath. I'm seeing John Graham as well showing up in my telemetry, had an incident as well, so let's go from his perspective. Oh, he was the truck that got involved in that last incident as well in the aftermath, so kind of putting trucks to names here, starting to get there. So he had a pretty good view of this whole thing. Only took one minor bump from a truck checking it up in front of him, but besides that, relatively little damage there for the number 96 here of John Graham, and that's about it. Tony Hilbrand's yet again we're seeing, as well as he does in a few races. He did well at Atlanta. I think he did well at one of the short tracks these last 2 weeks. I think it was Bristol. But he just has those weeks where everything appears to go wrong, even when some weeks go right. So, I don't know. We have some guys like that in the series, and I'll throw it to you, Evan, because I don't always know what to quantify that as. Those guys that are quick on their day don't necessarily cause a ton of wrecks, but always find themselves in stuff. What sort of characteristics do you think make that the case?
Yeah, I really don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of drivers that are that's just how they are, and I feel like it's a big mental thing. Racing in itself is a bigger mental thing than people realize, because sometimes it's just your day, and sometimes it's just not your day. It's just 1 second. Bill Harkins saying in the voice chat that he is on old tires, and for some reason he cannot get tires, so he is going to go ahead and stay out on track. Not exactly sure what's going on with him. But yeah, I don't really know what it is with those drivers, but I feel like racing is just a bigger mental game than people realize, and sometimes it's just not your day. You're just not seeing it right. Things just aren't working out right for you, and that's just how it goes sometimes. And there's not too much that you can do about it when you're having an off day.
Yeah, I think you talk about the mental point. I think the thing that a lot of people forget when you really boil down racing is at the end of the day, it's just a lot of little split-second decisions made one after another. And the way you're feeling at any given moment, or the way you're approaching things mentally, determines how you react to those things happening and how you take each individual moment. And yeah, if you're just kind of in a spot where you're too focused on getting offensive and too focused on weaving your way through the field, or you're not really thinking about the guys behind you, you can make wrong decisions in just a few of those split-second decisions. And in a race tonight, like we're seeing at Milwaukee Mile, those little mistakes can make all the difference, and can be the difference between somebody who's having a quick race, resulting it in a win, versus resulting in a 30th or a 35th or something that shoots you down the point standings overall. So I think it is really a mental thing, and I think those guys that are making those little mental errors, not maybe being totally cognizant of what's happening around them, I think that's killing a couple guys championships. And I feel like if just a few guys make changes and tweaks to their approach in this series overall, I think we have a couple guys that could go from maybe 20th, 15th in points to championship contenders. I genuinely do. So, word of advice for those of you watching this broadcast back, I know we're certainly not ones to tell some of the top guys in this series what to do, but I think it's just the thing I'm noticing as being a little bit troublesome. But here we go. The Pace truck, left-hander onto pit road, 7th restart of the night. It's Nickerson and Guzik, a pairing that's been very quick tonight. And then it's Zook and Hamilton in behind, side by side for third. Almost made contact, but Cale Zook gives him enough room there on the bottom line. But the 15 truck goes around the outside. He'll have the better run off of turn number 2. And Davey Hendricks again peeking underneath. May try a pass here in turn number 3.
Yeah, Davey Hendricks going to be the truck to watch, if you ask me. But look at the yellow truck, the 42 of Smith, a little bit further back, doing a great job. But right now, Zook side by side, and Bill Harkins about to go 3 wide up on the top.
Whoa!
Oh, we got a truck sideways at the 51 of Curtis Yancey on the front straightaway, bouncing back up in front of the track.
Do we have a caution? We do not. Curtis Yancey fully around the 51 truck, looking backwards. That's Mark Allen Bivens. There's Curtis Yancey. What happened to him? We saw on the exit at turn number 4, got punted or something, maybe got loose, but that was a little bit too late. That's not the most helpful thing in the world, so hopefully we can get a better view than that. We can't, so I'll just have to go back manually to see what happened there. But yeah, the 51 truck, last season he found himself getting involved in quite a bit of stuff, but this season he's been much less accident prone. He's looked great so far this year, but unfortunately there, just got caught in something. Kind of looked like he was just squeezed a little bit by Davey Hendricks there on the exit, and turned the truck left to try to avoid, and it just didn't have the grip necessary to do so. Let's see here what happened from a closer perspective here. The 51 truck, whoa, right on the grass too, right on the curbing. No, from there it just looks like he unsettled the truck, got a little bit loose, and maybe tried to overcorrect there. You got to be really gentle on the steering sometimes in these trucks, and I think they're just a bit of a miscalculation on the part of the 51.
Yeah, and real quick, we got a nice little break here. 8th caution of the night, lap 84 of 125. little break. I just want to go ahead. So I am sponsoring the race next week at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. It'll be sponsored by Evan Wall Media. I want to do something special for that race, but I don't exactly know what I want to do. Maybe trivia, maybe some other little special race on the short track at Nashville, the Legends Oval. I don't know. I want to do something special, so I want to hear in the comments what I should do since I'm sponsoring the race. What do you guys want to see? Do you want something that you guys can interact with, trivia? Do you want something special for the winner? I don't know. Let me know what you guys want. Let me know if you have any ideas what we should do special for that race. But now back to this race, lap 85 of 125 here at Milwaukee.
Well, just some quick live brainstorming. It's the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Got like some fair games. Like some like carnival stuff. Make it a whole theme. There's something to be said there. So yeah, leave in the comments what sort of stuff you guys maybe have done in the past or have thought of before, or if you enjoyed trivia or stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I'd love to make it a fun race. And we got to make Evan Wall's debut in the series, first time in the truck. We got to make it a big deal because, Evan, I'm just saying, you're gonna have some pressure next week, man. Hopefully you can live up to it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Don't be expecting anything. For anybody watching, definitely do not be expecting anything. I'm a big fan of Nashville. It's one of my favorite tracks to watch, but not necessarily one of my favorite tracks to drive. I like it and all, but you know what? It's a tough track. It's going to be a lot of fun to race and a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm going to be hanging out at the back all race. We'll see how it goes, though.
Well, we just talked about attitude, though, of positive attitude, of a positive outlook, optimism, and we'll see what can happen. We've seen some crazy things in the past. But very quickly, I want to take a quick moment again before we go to yet another green flag tonight. The lights in the pace truck, I believe, are still off, and it is very tough to see. They may not be. We're getting doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go, it would seem, in just a moment. So very quickly, just a reminder, tonight is the second race of the Rogue Energy triple header. Rogue Energy, the world's most delicious gaming drink. Again, we talked about all the benefits before, some flavors, but again, here is some information, some of the various flavors they have, some of the various different, well, not only the flavors, but the different brands. We got like hydration, energy, extreme, and shake. Certainly different flavors, different sorts of, well, as you can see, there are different sorts of benefits there on the bottom. So a little bit of information there. We do have one more lap here before the pace truck goes off, so we can talk about it a little bit more. But you can see there the different numbers of servings based on the different types, more caffeine, more calories. And by more calories, I mean 5 more. Only one of them has 5 at all. So Rogue Energy, just a really good product. I don't know the word to quantify it as because I talked about it before, but versus something that's really, fatty and feels unhealthy and feels just really artificial and gross. Of course it's artificial because it's an energy drink. They're not naturally occurring on trees, but it has that better, more wholesome vibe to it. And that's what I really appreciate about drinks and really a lot of brands in these modern days that kind of shy away from that kind of icky reputation, that icky taste of a couple other drinks. So thank you to Rogue Energy, as always, for sponsoring. They sponsored trivia a couple weeks ago. Brian DeChaney was the winner there, had some great prizes courtesy of Rogue Energy. And well, tonight again, they're sponsoring the triple header here in the Bandit Racing League, and the winner of that triple header, who takes the most points away in our race at Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Road America, will get some samples and some really cool prizes and some cash for their troubles. So currently, Nick Nickerson is
code Castle Esports for 10% off RogueEnergy.com. Castle Esports.
Darn right, the part I always forget. Yes, Castle Esports at Rogue Energy. Link is in the description. Nick Nickerson, a great jump, clears Guzik to turn number 1. And as I was just about to say, he was already doing well in the little mini championship overall. Had a good race at Atlanta, and he has led a considerable portion of tonight's race. So keep an eye on him for that mini championship, as well as potentially going back-to-back in the overall championship. But further back, Action Jackson, I believe it is, looking underneath. Cody Welch to turn number 3. 2 guys that have had plenty of experience battling before, and they are doing it yet again. Brandon getting a little bit loose here through 3 and 4, but recovers. And Cody Welch up front, not worried about defense much longer. He almost took a look there on Davey Hendricks on the exit.
Yeah, 2 really quick guys in that battle there, the 99 and the 85, but now the 99 is going to have a little bit of trouble here.
Whoa.
Peter Murphy did his inside, and the 99 is going to be sideways right in front of Kevin Foster. Sideways right in the middle of the turn, and he gets hit.
Multiple drivers I'm seeing involved there further back. Yeah, Brandon Jackson, the most notable one. Evan, what is the thing we say when Brandon Jackson gets spun?
And he turns him.
That's right, and he turned him. He did indeed. Yeah, again, looked more like a miscommunication than something intentional. I know Peter Murphy, not usually traditionally the type of guy to do something like that, but we got to see what happened there because, yeah, just kind of got a little bit too high there, it would seem. I don't know if from his perspective Brandon squeezed him. I know guys always look at that in a very favorable way to their own strategy rather than taking criticism themselves, but we'll see. We'll get a better angle here, and we'll judge a little bit more properly. So Brandon Jackson, no, I think that Peter Murphy, like, it was close, and it was more severe contact than I think would have happened in real life in these trucks had that happened. It was a little bit of just iRacing silliness, but yeah, just got a little bit too high there through the corner, and as a result, unfortunately, yeah, Brandon Jackson was the one that got caught there in the aftermath of that.
Yeah, Murphy being really aggressive there, but I don't think it was over aggressive or anything like that. At this point in the race, that's what you've got to expect, and that's the downside and the risk that you take when you really throw it down there to the inside when you're the driver racing the inside driver that tight, which you really have to do. That's just one of the downsides and one of the risks that you take in here. Riding on board with Knock, yeah, just so much smoke in front. I don't know if he could really even see the truck sideways, see exactly where he was.
Yeah, I think you're right. And unfortunately, Jackson Knock, the hometown boys from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just like the Milwaukee Mile itself. So unfortunate tonight, not having a great result here, unfortunately, at his hometown race, but doing everything he can. And yeah, in that situation, as wide as the track is, if you got smoke in front of you and your vision is kind of slightly impaired, it can be really tough to figure out what's going on up front. So no blame to him there. Just really unfortunate. And again, I always feel worse for the just innocent bystanders of these situations who just don't really have much of a choice, don't really have anywhere to go. Although in that particular situation, I also feel bad for Brandon Jackson because, yeah, I think he gave him as much room as he was expected to, and he even washed up a little bit there on the exit. So one of those things. Again, it's not a racing deal because it was more one driver that made a little bit of a mistake than the other. But again, if it's not, it wasn't a bad decision. It wasn't intentional, and it wasn't anything too abhorrent. So no shade there to Peter Murphy. That was just some good clean racing. Peter, well, got the better of it, still in 7th, isn't going to lose any spots. Aaron Smith is going to be right behind him on the restart, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. But very quickly, I don't know how many more cautions we'll get, but we'll take an opportunity that now it might bleed a little bit into the green flag racing, but we'll keep you side by side. We'll keep you locked into all the action. But tonight for our driver profile, it returns tonight after being absent at Knoxville. Tonight we're going to talk with the driver, the number 10, Matt Crockett. Matt Crockett's a guy who is very relevant to this series and more than just a driving perspective because he's somebody that helps out in the background with the bandit stuff. He works on the Discord informing the drivers of stuff that's happening. He plans out as an admin in the background, and he's just really important to the series. So here's a conversation I had with him just yesterday in this week's driver profile segment. Welcome, Matt. It's great to talk to you. And first of all, I just wanted to ask, from your starts in the Bandit Racing League, I know you've been here 3 seasons. What was it like here at the start? How did you kind of get to know Bill and the rest of the gang and work your way up to where you are now, helping out with the series and more than just an in-track perspective?
Yeah, started off, I started in the truck series. They were running the trucks and jumped in there, kind of got to know everybody. Me personally, I like to kick back, extremely being a rookie, you kick back, learn everything, learn what people are doing, and kind of go from there and work your way up. And me kind of being the rookie, I always give enough room, give plenty of room for people, patience, all that fun stuff, and give respect, because obviously they'll give you respect right back.
And I know that a lot of people respect that about you and the way that you approach the series. And respect is a huge thing in the Bandit Racing League that we've seen, even in my time in the last 2 seasons, has been getting better and better. So clearly you're making a difference in that regard. And the one thing I think this season that stood out as a moment to me that I know probably did the same for most people that watched it was a couple weeks back. I can't remember exactly what race, but you had just gone through with a surgery the day of a race, just hours before, and you still showed up, you still competed, and came very close to winning on fuel. I think it might have been at Atlanta. So talk about your drive as a racer and as somebody who perseveres through stuff like that, and where that comes from, and who you have in your support system in the background to help out with that.
Yeah, I actually went in for a lower back surgery. Basically what they did was they would go in and remove some bone, a bunch of bulge discs on my lower back, remove bone, fix that up, free up some nerves going down my legs, stuff like that. And was home by about noon my time, 1 o'clock, and kind of took a nap and all that fun stuff, and was pretty messed up on some prescription medication, some opioids. And I was like, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't feel nothing, so I just want to try and race and see what it does. And started off racing a little bit in qualifying, actually got kind of a little bit dizzy, so I had to take a bunch of deep breaths because my oxygen levels were actually low throughout the whole day. So I had to remember to breathe, to kind of bring back my focus and bring back my my oxygen levels and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it was one of my favorite tracks. My grandpa was a huge Atlanta Braves fan. I'm a big Atlanta Braves fan, and my kid's an Atlanta Braves fan. So I wanted to run my Atlanta Braves paint scheme. So I've made it a determination to run it just in honor of my grandpa, and just kind of having my family back behind me. I have a great wife. My kid who always comes in and gives me hugs and high fives right before a race and says, good luck, Dad, and all that stuff. My parents, they watch from their home in Tucson, Arizona, all the time, and they support me. They always text me and all that fun stuff. So, and it's one of those, and extremely, the bandit support everybody. We're a family here. We're not just another league. We're an actual family. We got each other's backs. And yeah, we might gripe on each other every now and then. We might get angry every now and then, but you know what? Tomorrow's another day. An hour from now is another an hour from now that you can actually just forget it, move on, and be a family.
Well, just figured after that interview with Matt Crockett, we're back to the racing action here, and might as well get a quick moment to check in with our, well, not for a proper interview, but we'll check in with our race leader, Mr. Nick Nickerson. Unfortunately, he is paused there on Skype, unless he's doing some epic kumbaya meditating here, getting ready to go green. There we go. So flashing in and out. Unfortunately, doesn't have great connectivity, but there is the driver of the number 2 truck, Mr. Nick Nickerson here, just kind of surveying the landscape here tonight. It's one of those races like a couple weeks ago at Bristol, where as the leader, you're just kind of hoping that you finally get some green flag racing to work with. And unfortunately, tonight he hasn't had a ton of that, but with only 27, now 28 next time by laps to go, not a ton more time left for him. He is having internet troubles here, as you can see, as the flashing in and out on the broadcast would be that. So, yeah, unfortunately, hopefully those internet issues don't give it.
Yeah, they said they'd review it after the race, so no penalties right now or anything.
Okay. So
Curtis isn't even happy that it's going to be reviewed, though.
Well, so there you go. There's an update, everybody, for the overall situation. I mean, and stuff like that, yeah, it's just kind of a miscommunication. We were talking about it in the background. The incident you saw there in the background just a moment ago.
How much longer do we have left?
We have 27 laps to go. We are getting ready to go green. 1 lap to go here, back live. And, yeah, 10 cautions, lots of wrecks, and I feel like in an individual basis, not every time are you going to get really an opportunity to talk your way out of it. I don't know what's happening now with this replay. Not totally necessary, but yeah, sometimes you just don't really get an opportunity to talk yourself out of stuff. So in the background, there's lots of conversations going on, I'm sure, between whose fault things are. But there in the background, that last incident, maybe a little bit early on the jump there for Curtis Yancey. Maybe looked underneath or looked on the top side a little bit earlier than he should have, but another wreck. Hilbrands and Yancey having a tough night so far, but back to green. Here we go. Nickerson, Guzik side by side. Nick, another clear early down into the braking zone for turn 1. Hamilton on the top side, but Cale Zook, a great night overall for him so far. And the 44 truck thought about a pass here, but we're side by side, a row back. Hendricks and Welch as we come through turn number 2. Into turn number 3. Now it's Welch and Zook side by side. Hendricks was able to clear him down the backstretch. Welch looking to the inside here around turn number 4, and it's, well, that's Zook and Smith. I'm seeing, whoa, Welch gets kind of shuffled out a little bit. Down to the apron, saves the truck again. The save master, as I'm going to call him, Cody Welch, seems to do it all the time, and he did it again just now. Aaron Smith now trying to find himself an opportunity, and a little ways further up, Davey Hendricks will pull ahead as a result, so it's Nickerson, Guzik, Hamilton, Hendricks, and Smith, your top 5. The exit of turn number 4 here, we're still single file. The only really side-by-side we're seeing here is a number of rows back. There's some chaos there further back. Connor Sawyer is actually coming down pit road. You see they're just entering pit road as we speak. So I'm going to guess either for damage or just an off-segment pit stop that you would have thought he would pit just a moment ago there on that last caution. So not sure what the situation is there, but Nick Nickerson there up front. And as we've mentioned many times this season, we have not had repeat winners so far in Bandit Racing League Season 9. And I think this might be an opportunity. The top 2 here, sorry, the top, no, just the top 1, I should say, is a defending race winner. And then actually the next 3 aren't. So maybe I should cut that narrative out right now. Looks like those guys that are trying to find their first win to make it 7 different winners in 7 different races. They are having good nights for themselves. Guzik in second. Again, Christopher Hamilton making his debut. Then it's Davey Hendricks, who scored wins last season twice. And Aaron Smith there in 5th, not looking too bad himself, defending race winner at Knoxville. He's keeping with the pack, and really, again, the only battle we're seeing in the top 10 is between Cody Welch and another driver. This time it was Kevin Foster. Now he's to the outside of Mason Flagar, who's actually doing quite well for himself. The 72 truck up to 9th. Continuing to see battles all the way through the field. Kevin Foster's kind of fallen back a little ways. Not sure what's happened to him on his end, but he is having a little bit of trouble there, it would seem. More like I'm having a little bit of trouble. I can't communicate with Evan Wall Media right now in the booth, but again, keeping an eye on this battle for, again, this is still for 9th. Mason Flagar dropped back a little ways from Cody Welch, but he's still holding off Michael Ramos for the time being. Ramos looking underneath. Nice move from Michael Ramos. Whoa, puts the bumper to him. The 27 gets into the 72, the reverse number, and now Kevin Foster will go with him as well, so the top 10 might include Kevin Foster in just a moment, trying to find his way past Mason Flagar. They're side by side on the run down to turn 3. Just working on some stuff here in the background as we continue, but again, it's Ramos and Foster and Flagar, and now it's Ricky Hart out of nowhere. He kind of fell back early after doing quite well for himself early in the race. He has recovered again and trying to work his way through. Somebody there on the apron just exiting pit road. It looked like one of the Henrys there. I think it was Hunter Henry possibly, so not sure what happened to him. But we're keeping an eye here. It looks like we're having a little bit of trouble where Evan Wall has dropped off. We'll see if we can bring him back. Hey, Evan, can you hear me? No, it appears we're still having a little bit of trouble. So looks like I'm going to go solo for now, but right now we got to go back up to the front because Bret Guzik has not fallen off the race leader. Nick Nickerson and Christopher Hamilton still within a second. So with 20 laps to go here at Milwaukee, this race is far from over. And I almost wonder from Bret Guzik's perspective, is it almost better at this point that he isn't leading the race? You know, he's led so many races in the last couple weeks that have fallen apart late. Maybe just better that he is the guy chasing. He's the hunter rather than the hunted in this situation. Maybe just going to slowly creep up on Nick Nickerson like he did earlier in the race and maybe find his passing opportunities late. But back in the field a little ways, I was seeing a pretty good battle just a moment ago between Yancey, Lacey, Ferrara, Weaver. There were a number of guys going at it, but looks like that has since subsided. So the battle is going to continue to remain up front. And now Christopher Hamilton has actually gained a 10th there that last time by. The number 15 truck becomes yet another in the long line of drivers I've heard about suddenly before the race as a new rookie to the series. And then magically in the race, they have all this pace and they're looking great. So maybe a new Davey Hendricks, maybe a new Aaron Smith. But whatever he is, the 15 truck is looking good. The returns 1 and 2, getting right up to the back bumper of the 04 truck. Bret Guzik may have to put his eyes forward rather than, or put his eyes back rather than forward, I should say. The main threat may be the guy behind him rather than Nick Nickerson, who is still looking quick. Has not dropped off even a little bit, but whatever it may be, what a battle we're going to have here to the finish. We've had some great battles in the last couple weeks here in the Bandit Racing League, and I think we're about to see yet another. But yeah, Nick Nickerson up front. He's going to take advantage of this little battle here, this little scrap, and now you can guarantee that Bret Guzik's eyes are surely fixed on his rearview mirror here as we come through turns number 1 and 2. And the longer these two guys battle, the longer these two guys focus on each other, the better chance Nick Nickerson has to pull away up front. Down into turn number 3 here. Going to be Guzik remaining in front of Christopher Hamilton, but he has pulled away from Davey Hendricks behind. So Christopher Hamilton, the 15, has all the time he needs to focus, and he's just going to continue to chug on forwards. And yeah, looking comfortable there up front. So we're going to take a quick moment here. We're going to go just purely to the sounds of the racetrack. The 15 car slides through, so we'll take kind of a turn it up segment here. We're going to bump up the sound a little bit. We're going to put some interesting camera angles up, and I got to work on some stuff in the background here for just a brief moment with Evan Wall.
Yeah, I got you.
There we go. Issue figured out. We should be good to go. And since we took a brief moment away there, you saw Christopher Hamilton jump underneath Bret Guzik into turn number 1. So right as I maybe jinxed him there, said Bret was looking good. Maybe it was better to be the hunter rather than the hunted. Just like that, gets passed by Hamilton, and he's not falling back at all. But as Hamilton gets better and better late on these runs, and I heard all this stuff before about how quick he would be tonight, maybe we're seeing kind of an under-the-radar pick for the win here forming in the 15 track.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing a great job so far, working his way up. Only a second back from Nick Nickerson, but you know that 04 truck is right on his tail.
Up front, Nick Nickerson was for a moment pulling away. It was looking great, but I'm wondering if maybe it's just a tire wear problem, maybe even a fuel conservation thing. But he is starting to fall a little bit in terms of the lap times. He was up a full 1.2 seconds, I think, a second ago, and has since fallen back to just over a minute. So it's going to be a fun race to the finish, but I think it's one of those ones where it's really going to depend on the pace in the last 5 laps rather than right now. And in the meantime, I think if you're Bret Guzik, you almost want to let Hamilton just do his thing. If he's quicker at this point in the run, let him try to go get Nick Nickerson and then try to just, in the catbird seat spot, kind of weave your way through late in the race. But very quickly, we got to go back to a battle forming for 6th. There are a number of drivers involved coming through turns number 1 and 2 as we speak. You see there Peter Murphy, Cody Welch, Ricky Hart Jr., Aaron Smith, who after being the pole sitter, leading a number of laps, Aaron Smith, after an earlier call to go in an alternate strategy, just hasn't quite had that same edge to him that he had earlier. And unless we get a caution, I think his chances for the win tonight are done.
Yeah, look at Cody Welch a little bit up in front, though, onto the inside, looking to make a move on Peter Murphy. I believe Peter Murphy pinching him down low. It looks like they're going to make contact. Peter Murphy down to the inside. Cody Welch now up on the outside. Peter Murphy, really pinched Cody Welch down on the bottom. Ricky Hart Jr. now going to try and take advantage down to the inside. Cody Welch on the top. Peter Murphy on the inside. We'll see if Cody Welch pinches Peter as much as Peter pinched Cody. That was a whole tongue twister right there. But side by side, Peter Murphy and Cody Welch as they head onto the front straightaway. This battle for 6th position.
Battle continuing, and it was Peter Murphy and Cody Welch going side by side, 2 consecutive corners. They kind of switched over on their sides, but both did give each other enough room. So I think Peter just got a little bit too close to the quarter panel in there, maybe miscalculated a little bit, and everybody gets it through it okay. But Cody Welch there to the inside. This is the Cody Welch we're used to seeing. Gets underneath, gets real aggressive about it. Thought he was going to have to put the bumper to him because Peter Murphy is really squeezing him to the apex here. And as quick as I keep saying that lower line is, the only issue is that if you don't get enough space off the corner to really build your run up, then it's not all that effective. So gives him a bit of a tap to the braking zone and gets ahead of him, but he gives him the bumper. Peter Murphy is just going at him. Now a pack of like 6 trucks forming up. What a battle we're seeing. And I'm just going to call it right now. Don't be surprised if we see one of these guys properly put the bumper to one another.
Yeah, don't be surprised if we see Cody Welch put the bumper to Peter Murphy, and there he goes. Every single turn, Peter Murphy has squeezed Cody Welch down, not giving him any room at all. Cody Welch, after about the 3rd or 4th time, he just wasn't going to handle it anymore, and they're raking in the back. The 8 of Kevin Foster upside down.
Indeed, look at the damage to the 8 truck. That is a major wreck, not only for the mini championship here in the Rogue Energy triple header, but also in the overall standings. I believe isn't anymore, but is in the top 3 in your points. He was your points leader previously. And a massive wreck you saw there in the background for Foster. What happened to him?
Yeah, a lot going on in the driver chat right now. A quote from Cody Welch. Quote, "You deserved it, dude. You deserved it." So.
Damn. Well, here is Kevin Foster. Those are some harsh words. We're starting to get really chippy with it. Holy cow, 4 wide. What was going on there? Massive wreck, then into the pit divider there on the end of pit road. Kevin Foster, what happened to him there? So this is right behind this battle up front. Gets pinched by Murphy into Hart. Ramos up top formed a 3 wide and just found himself with nowhere to go. Took a hard lick there off both the wall and the pit barrier, like I said. But again, I don't know what happened up front there. So they're 3 wide, kind of slides it in there late. The truck on the top, I think that was Peter Murphy, kind of joins in the fray late and just runs out of room. Really runs out of room on the apex. And sorry, just to clarify, Evan, in the background in the chat, sorry, what driver was that was pretty happy to see that incident go down?
Yeah, it was Cody Welch that was fairly happy to see that go down. Cody Welch was really not happy with the way that Peter Murphy kept pinching him to the bottom every single time. Every time going into the turn, Peter Murphy wasn't giving him any room at all. He was pinching him down to the inside lane, not letting him properly enter the corner, and that's where you saw Cody Welch gave Peter Murphy a couple of bumps. Peter Murphy wasn't exactly happy with those bumps that Cody Welch gave him, and Cody Welch quickly responded back that he deserved it the way that he was pinching him down every single time into the corner. So yeah, Cody Welch fairly happy to see the 38 of Peter Murphy involved in that one.
Well, the word of the day tonight is going to be tensions. We have seen tensions from start to the finish. Such a kind of political race. Guys having problems with 5+ guys, I'm sure in some case. Just so many little incidents have gone down tonight. The guys are going to be upset at all sorts of things. And very quickly, I want to figure something out, because one notable driver who's just in the top 5 is missing. Once again, I want to look through the pit strategy situation, because where is Bret Guzik?
A good question. Maybe he's on a different strategy, or maybe bad luck struck him. I'm not exactly sure what happened to that 04 truck.
So there he is. He just pitted. So a number of drivers are making pit stops right now. And I think this becomes the question, because for most drivers here up in the front of the field, we'll show it again as we go back to the front row, at least in the case of Nick Nickerson, your current race leader. He pitted on lap number 73. And I got information before the race from Matt Crockett, again, tonight's driver profile driver, shout out to Matt, from him that it was going to be a 40 to 45 lap pit cycle, if he had to guess. So on fuel, you could go about that long. Now keep in mind, we've had a lot of cautions, so guys have been able to save fuel for that. But this does mean that guys like Nick Nickerson, even if they can get to the finish, if they can go 4 more laps, guys like Nickerson, Hamilton, Zook, actually Yancey's okay. This pit strategy has worked out perfectly for him, because he pitted on lap number 95, and he's good to the finish. He's good on fuel no matter what. Andy's sitting there in 4th. So the question is, if we go into overtime, or we go to some green-white checkers, because this series I believe has 3 nowadays, maybe 2 or 3, but there's the opportunity that we would go into a green and white checker, do extra laps that maybe you aren't anticipating on a pit cycle, and potentially guys like Nickerson and Hamilton and Ramos and Zook could run out of fuel. And then it would be a top 2 of Yancey, Hagee, then possibly Graham, and then guys like Guzik, who just pitted a moment ago. So maybe a good strategy play from the guys deciding to come down pit road. But if we don't get a caution here to the end, that could have just screwed over Bret Guzik's race.
Yeah, the way these guys are racing, I wouldn't be surprised to see a caution, though. Pace truck getting ready to go off. Nick Nickerson and the 15 of Hamilton on the front row. Nick Nickerson with the quick jump, but not too bad for Hamilton on the outside. That second row is a little bit further back. It's going to be Yancey and Zook side by side as they go down into turn 1. Looks like Curtis Yancey is going to come away with the spot on the straightaway.
He will, but he's not clear yet. Kel Zook has had a quietly great night all throughout the race. The 44 truck underneath. Nice move here, gets below. I'm seeing Cody Welch in the background on Skype is having some issues. A number of drivers funneling around. Possibly going to see a caution here, but we continue to go green so far, so no issues as of yet. Michael Ramos has moved into 5th. Eddie Hagee there in 6th. There are some big names here. Could have a great
Curtis
race
Yancey
themselves.
blocking all over the front straightaway.
Yeah, really intense block. I don't even know about nice, but he is doing whatever he can to defend from the 44 truck. Up front, Nickerson just a couple car lengths ahead of Hamilton, trying to hold off the rookie for his 2nd win of the season. But Cale Zook might try it here. I think he's a little bit too far back into 3. He's far enough ahead of maybe not even Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith's right there.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back, the 55s. It's Ricky R. Jr. in the grass. No caution yet, though.
We're out of time. 1 lap to go here at Milwaukee Mile. Not by much. Nickerson now 3/10 to Hamilton. If Christopher Hamilton in this first race in the series can put together a beautiful turns 3 and 4, he might be okay. But if not, we could see the first 2-time winner of the season, and only fitting it would be our defending series champion. The battle for 3rd. Curtis Yancey a car length ahead. Hendricks on the top line out of nowhere is going to try it. Right behind is Smith, but off of turn number 4, your race winner, 2nd time this season, the first multiple race winner, Nick Nickerson, holds him off and takes the race win. And Davey Hendricks does get Yancey, and a massive wreck, a massive pile up.
Across the line.
Holy cow. Immediately got to go see what happened there. So here was the battle to the line. Oh, it was close. So you can see here, Hendricks, we're going to go to his angle here. Got a better run off the top line. Perfectly used the run to his advantage. Just barely clears him. gets ahead. Yancey tried to give him a tap, and that kind of backfired, as you can see. Yancey ends up 4th, Smith in 5th. Cale Zook unfortunately drops back there into 6th, but a great night for him overall. Then it was Ramos. Bret Guzik recovered, I think, his pit strategy, though it was a little bit off. Had we gotten another caution, which was almost the case in just if the wreck we had there on the end of the first lap happened just a couple seconds earlier, we would have had a yellow and we would have gone to a green-white checkered. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. But it did work out for your race winner, Nick Nickerson. He's back, folks. Your defending champion, showing why he's the guy to beat in this series.
Yeah, there you see Nick Nickerson and the 8 of Kevin Foster, the 2 teammates, with the side-by-side burnout here on the front straightaway of the Milwaukee Mile. Great job for Nick Nickerson. Great race today. Good race from Kevin Foster as well. Both teammates able to bring it home. Kevin Foster probably able to keep his position in the point standing. Is definitely not going to fall down too far after a night like this.
No, I'm sure you're right. A great recovery drive from some incidents he was having earlier. Yeah, not quite as far up as his teammate. That's most certainly for sure. But where he was in the mini-series points after Atlanta, I think he should be in a relatively decent spot. So it'll all come down to Road America. And I think Nick Nickerson is, well, he's the guy to watch out there as well. So, you know, I think Nick is he's in a really good spot. And I'm comfortable saying that he would now become the favorite. That is not an accurate graphic there for Kevin Foster. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that Nick is the guy to beat here in this mini championship presented by Rogue Energy. And Kevin's having some fun there. He's messing around there in the background. But good race for him overall. And Kevin will get his win as well, I'm sure, someday in the series soon, because he's come close a number of times. And he's up top in the points for a reason, or at least he was until this week. And now Nick Nickerson, who I believe had just taken over the points lead last week at Knoxville, I believe will take an even more commanding lead at this point going into next week. But there we go. There are your results here. And just quickly, a moment before we go to your race winner, Mr. Nick Nickerson, for his interview, let's just get a chance to throw up your final results in tonight's event at Milwaukee Mile. Here we go. Presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. We'll keep Kevin Foster in the background. He's having some fun there. It would be nice if these could load, which they do not appear to want to, which is exceedingly annoying. So, final results. Let's see. There we go. Finally coming up. So thank you, Nick Nickerson, the two truck, race winner at Milwaukee Mile. What a run for him. I mean, it was going to be tough to beat guys like Christopher Hamilton, who looks so quick, like Aaron Smith, like Bret Guzik. But overall, one by one, those guys just seem to have little strategic issues that took them out of the running. But he did have to hold off Christopher Hamilton, who looked so quick in his debut there at the end, and he did so in style. Takes the win by only 0.3 of a second and pulls away his second win of the season going into the playoffs. He looks like a favorite as always. Gonna be great to talk to him in just a moment. But Christopher Hamilton, a rookie to the series, making his debut. Don't even know if we'll be able to get him in the broadcast booth, but we'll try to in his first race. And he comes home in second. Could be another Davey Hendricks style mid-season entry that just absolutely dominates late in the year. So keep an eye on him. But speaking of Davey Hendricks, a great finish there at the end. Just pips out Curtis Yancey for third. He will come away with the final podium spot, though Curtis Yancey did come close. He finishes in fourth. Aaron Smith in fifth. Cale Zook, a really great night for him in sixth. Overall, came close to a podium. If a couple little things had gone different, maybe he could have got it. But tonight he'll have to settle for sixth, though that is good points. Michael Ramos in seventh. Bret Guzik, a little bit off in the strategy, had to drop back to 14th, but did recover all the way back to 8th in only 4 laps. He'll finish in 8th. Then it's Eddie Hagge, a good night for him. And Jason Greenwell, very quietly, did pretty well all the way throughout, and he'll come home with the 10th place points finish in the end of it.
In 11th position is going to be the 96 of John Graham. Great run from him. Good to see him up front. That's not a name that I've seen in the top 10, top 15. Kevin Foster going to come home in 12th in that 8 truck, followed by Ricky Hart Jr. in the 64. Two big names there coming home in 12th and 13th. 14th, Mason Flagard, the 72 truck. A great run for that 72 truck right there, followed by Matt Crockett, the 10 in 15th. Then Tony Hilbrands, the 92 truck, obviously had a little bit of trouble throughout the race, able to bring it back home to a 16th place finish. Great job from him. 17th is going to be Christopher Ferrara in the 13 truck, followed by Bill Harkins, the 11 in 18th position. You saw a little bit of trouble with tire strategy there, but great job to come home in 18th position, followed by Connor Zook, the 55 in 19th, and Mark Allen Bivens, the 76, bringing it home in 20th position.
After that, Terry Condos will come home in 21st, Jeffrey Dorhofer in 22nd, Cody Welch there dropped back late, got tangled there late with Peter Murphy and got sent around. He'll finish in 23rd. Not actually all that reminiscent of how quick he was overall tonight. So he'll regroup and he'll come back next week at Nashville Fairgrounds. He's always quick at the short tracks. Keep an eye on the 85 truck next week. But after that, David Lakey in 24th, Gary Wright in 25th, Nolan Gross 26th, Peter Murphy, who got involved there at the end with Cody Welch, he'll finish in 27th. It's a double Henry here. I'm seeing double. Roman Henry in 28th, just ahead of his cousin Hunter in 29th. Then Victor Weaver will round off the top 30.
31st is going to be Anthony Caetano, the driver of the number 39 truck, 4 laps down. Then 5 laps down, the 99 of Brandon Jackson coming home in 32nd. Not the night that Action Jackson wanted. Also not the night that Benjamin Lacey wanted in that 7 truck. 2 fast guys coming home in 32nd and 33rd. Then you got Connor Sawyer, the 3 truck, in 34th, followed by Jason Knock, the 00. Jonathan Platt, the 43, in 36th. Jason Romey, the 08, coming home in 37th, followed by Charles Oberg, who left early 70 laps down in that 02 truck, coming home in 38th. And rounding off your field, it's going to be Caden Bailey, Thomas Finsler, Trey Ellis, and Alan Castle. Trey and Alan, I don't believe, started the race here tonight.
No, I believe you're right. A couple of drivers didn't seem to manage to make the field, unfortunately. But in the end, the drivers that did make the field, some of them didn't have much better luck. And it's just one of those races. It was. We've had a few very competitive and very aggressive races these last couple weeks. Bristol and Knoxville, I think, kind of brought out the worst in drivers, and hopefully that's the end of it for the next couple weeks. Hopefully we can get back to a slightly calmer Bandit Racing League, one in which we don't need to worry about having a ton of wrecks and a ton of animosity in the background, because I know at the end of the day it's a really great driver lineup. It's a good group of guys, and I hate to see races that end like this, because, you know, there's going to be some talking afterwards. There's going to be some trouble, but next week people are going to come back and they'll be over it. They'll figure things out, and everything will be fine in just a week. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll go to Nashville Fairgrounds, Evan Wall's debut, happy spirits. But for the time being, we got to go to your race winner. We're doing the race winner interviews first these last couple weeks, and we're going to do it again going forward, which means that it's time to talk to a fan favorite, in my personal opinion. He's as good of a champion as we could ever ask for in this series. Defending champion and now defending race winner, Mr. Nick Nickerson. Let's pull him in the booth and talk to your race winner tonight. Just got to find him. Has not jumped down to the broadcast booth yet. There he is. Just a moment. And here we go. Mr. Nick Nickerson. It's Marshall in the booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, man?
It is going well. Nick, what a race overall from you there, man. There were a ton of guys giving you some trouble there throughout. Tons of guys tried to lead laps, but they're late. It was Christopher Hamilton that proved troublesome. I don't know if you know more about him than I do. He was a guy that showed up tonight, made his debut. I heard a lot about him, but he was quick. What were you having to do there late to hold him off?
Yeah, man, I actually brought him into the league. I raced with him in another league, and he's another guy he's really good. He'll say that he's not good on ovals, but really he's pretty dang good. And, to be honest, to finish that, I brought him in there because he's always been really good with, like, the tire saving game. And that's something I kind of needed somebody to push me for more. Not that everybody else is not good at that. Everybody's probably better than I am. And I almost, man, if this race would have went the long game, I was going to lose it. I couldn't save my tires for nothing. Like that second stint, I had to let Bret by because I just had nothing for him during his second attack there.
I mean, in the end, though, it came down to really a case of cautions once again, like we saw at Bristol and Knoxville. It didn't seem to be a race where the long runs were all that valuable, and we've seen it now back-to-back weeks with Bristol and Knoxville, and we saw it again tonight. From your perspective as the guy up front, who I know maybe doesn't get to see a ton of wrecks in firsthand, but he hears about them all, and I know you've got plenty of experience in stock car racing as a whole. What do you attribute these races to? Why are we seeing races like this with so many wrecks on a track that maybe inherently isn't that tough to drive?
Well, I think the biggest culprit is that there's only one fast lane. If we had a track where there was 2 grooves that were even close in speed, then, you'd see guys deviating between. But, right now everybody's fighting for that optimal line into turn 1. And that's where kind of the heated moments get to, especially at the end of the race. I don't know what iRacing can do to fix that. Maybe one day we'll get that PJ1 kind of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Maybe that would help. But, it's going to be here forever. It's always been a part of iRacing, and it probably always will. I mean, you even see it in, like, the professional series sometimes.
Well, I mean, overall, as long as they can make the racing entertaining, and as long as they can give us tracks that'll create some two-wide racing, we've seen this season, if you give a good track that's competitive, guys will find ways to make great races and great finishes. Overall, the talent this season's just been so incredible, and overall, I think the fact that it took you this long to get win number 2 as compared to last season is testament to that enough. I mean, last season, you rattled off, like, what, eight wins by the end of the year? Like, you were just dominant. But you had some trouble this season picking up that second win because guys were finding ways to win week in and week out. So would you say that knowing how talented the field is this year, knowing how much more competitive it is than early last season, does it make the win now tonight at Milwaukee feel that much sweeter for you?
A little bit, for sure. You know, the competition this year is just like night and day. Like, the people that have been here have really stepped their game up, and then we got new guys that are really fast. And on top of that, I still believe that the trucks are a bit more equalizing than the Xfinity cars were. And, you know, it's just, you're on the edge the whole time if you're in the lead. Like, there's no running away with it. I don't think there ever will be. We're just, the field is so stacked this year. And it's a lot of fun, and it can be frustrating sometimes. But, yeah, it's kind of nice to finally get to be the first repeat winner, I guess, this season. And that's nice. And actually, I have to skip a race in Chicagoland, so it's nice to get that win before I have to leave a race for a race. So, yeah, it's kind of nice.
Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, make up for it. It would be nice to see you win the regular season championship, even if you're locked into the playoffs. I'm sure from your perspective to keep the confidence up going into the playoffs, and just like last season, if you pose yourself as the top dog, I'm sure eventually guys will start to just get used to that. And I'm sure guys like Cody Welch last season gave you a fight to the very end, and I look forward to seeing which of our new top guys will do that again this season. But for next week, I know Evan is pumped about Nashville Fairgrounds. It's a track he loves. I know it's one that's near and dear to the hearts of a lot of people because it's been off the NASCAR calendar now for a while, but it returns to the Bandit Racing League next week. What are you expecting? What do you know about it? Do you like those short tracks that are a little bit more grassroots? And just what do you think we're going to see next week comparatively to tonight at Nashville Fairgrounds?
Man, Nashville, you know, I raced there a couple times in other leagues. I remember it being a pretty awesome track. I can't remember what we raced. But, you know, we'll just have to see come practice. I mean, I think that's any short track can be a nightmare when you have 43 trucks on it. So I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I'm hoping because it's a newer track, maybe it's has newer technology that maybe we can build in like 2 grooves. Even if they're not identical, at least you can still run the top and get a little bit of a sling or something. We'll have to see. But, yeah, the 2 short tracks. Well, I guess Milwaukee's kind of a short track, but we're actually going to a real short track next week. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, until then, you got some time to enjoy the second win of the season. Congratulations, as always, Nick. I feel like I was really used to this last season. It felt like every week it was, we're talking to Nick last, welcome back. But it took a little bit of time this time, and it's good to see you have to earn it and have to fight through it. But at the end of the day, it's only fitting. Finally, the champ gets win number 2. So here's your time. You know what to do. You've done this plenty before. Sponsors, shout-outs, friends and family. How's your time?
Yeah, man. First, I got to thank all the people over there at Big Red for sponsoring Kevin and I's team. It's pretty cool. And got to thank TechNet and Perfect Shine Auto Spa. And definitely got to thank everybody that participates in this league. You know, Bill and Matt and everything they do, man. It's just such an awesome league. And it can be frustrating sometimes, but I believe I talk for a lot of people that we thoroughly enjoy, look forward to Wednesdays. And I got to thank you and Evan for the broadcast. You guys do just a phenomenal job. Can't wait to watch this one.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm sure they're more fun to watch when you take away the wins, isn't it? I'd imagine if
Absolutely.
I mean, it spoils the ending, but at least it makes it building up for a payoff. So congratulations as always, Nick. Win number 2. We'll see you next week. See if you can become the first back-to-back winner as well, because might as well just collect all the milestones.
Right. I'm going to try.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Enjoy your race win. Celebrate hard, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya. And there you go. First broadcast of the night as we're doing it these days. And, well, he isn't traditionally the guy we talk to first. Usually we talk to him at the end of the night, but he finishes in the same spot we're used to. Mr. Nick Nickerson, defending series champion. If this is the first time you've ever seen a Nick Nickerson win, I'm going to be honest, you should probably just get used to it because he does it a lot, and it'll be a recurring theme through the rest of the season, I'd imagine. He's always somebody that can compete for wins, and he does it yet again tonight. But now we go to your second interview of the night, and he just talked about a moment ago, did Mr. Nick Nickerson. He plugged Christopher Hamilton, a guy he brought over to the series, and he said an interesting tidbit in there that I noticed, very similar to when we brought in Aaron Smith, that he was more of a road course guy, presumably, that ovals weren't exactly his forte. And, well, the fact that he did so well tonight as he did, just similar to Aaron Smith, when at this point, whenever I hear somebody say that somebody's a road course expert and then they go to an oval, I should just expect them to do really well, because it's the second time it's happened this season. And man, did he look good tonight. Mr. Christopher Hamilton is going to be down in the booth momentarily, provided we can get him, with Mr. Evan Wall with your second interview of the night.
Chris, this is Evan Wall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, first of all, nice to meet you. Great to see somebody come out here. First race that they join, and they come out here and they come finish second. They're up here racing for a win. So first of all, a great job. I guess just talk us through your race tonight. What was your strategy coming throughout the race, and then talk us through those last few laps racing with Nick.
Most of the time, I try to go first half survive, and then second half try to put myself in position to, hopefully get a good finish, whether it be top 5 or maybe even a win. These guys, I've never raced with them before, so I was kind of feeling it out the first half. And I realized that, this is a little different than what I was used to, but I had a great time. Nick actually referred me to this league. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and so speaking of that, I know Nick talked a little bit about referring you, but we'll kind of use this as a time to go ahead and get to know you. So what are your favorite kind of tracks? What tracks are you going to be looking forward to racing? What tracks aren't you? What do you expect to come out here and do good at?
The joke in another league is that I'm not an oval guy. I really much prefer road courses, but I've been kind of forcing myself to do ovals, and they've kind of grown on me. So anything from the short tracks, I think I'm pretty terrible at short tracks, but mile and a half, and those kind of tracks, I think I can do pretty well.
Hey, it sounds good. You obviously did a great job tonight. We got Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway coming up next week. It's one of my favorite tracks, and it's a short track, but it's a little bit different short track. Do you have any experience with it? Are you excited for it, or what?
Just like this track, I have no prior experience coming in, so I'll use whatever practice I can and learn from the best. Trying to follow Nick, and I really don't know much of the other names. I'm still learning everybody, but I'll definitely do my best next week.
Well, hey, yeah, you did a great job. If you came in here with no experience, coming in next week with no experience, I'll expect the same result. I'll be looking for you up at the front of the field, but we'll have this over quickly. As fast as you ran tonight, I'm sure we'll have you in plenty of other interviews, but at the end of the interview, this is just your time to go ahead and shout out anybody you want to thank, whether it be friends, sponsors, anything like that. This is your time to take over the broadcast for yourself. Shout out whoever you want to shout out.
First off, thank you for broadcasting. I always share any kind of stream link that I can for some. I know some friends and family are watching back home. Love you guys. Thank Nick for referring me to this league. I had an absolute blast. And Ryan McCauley, he did this fantastic paint scheme of this truck. He does all my paint schemes, and they all look fantastic. Thank you.
That sounds good. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon, but if it's a little bit, well, we'll see you then. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that 15 truck in the next couple of weeks. So good luck next week, bud.
Thanks. Have a good night.
And that'll round off our second interview of the night with debuting rookie, as we just talked to, Mr. Christopher Hamilton. And it's exciting to learn we got another guy that at least advertises himself as a road course expert. And it's not like our series can ever have too many of those. It just makes the couple road course races every season even more competitive. And if we can just find a guy to make Nick Nickerson's tremble in his boots, that's exactly what we're looking for. So maybe we got him in Christopher Hamilton. And the fact that he recruited him himself as well will be an interesting storyline to follow throughout the season. I just want to clarify something very quickly just to make sure, because on my screen here, on my telemetry, it's showing that Curtis Yancey has finished in third, but on this screen it's saying Davey Hendricks. So we'll go with the graphics rather than my telemetry in the background here. We are going to say that in that photo finish there at the end that Davey Hendricks did get the upper hand of Curtis Yancey, and as a result, we're going to pull him in the booth here for your final interview of the night. Again, these days the final interview is the third place finisher rather than the race winner, but it's not like Davey Hendricks has never won a race here in the Bandit Racing League, but we'll talk to him in just a moment here for your final interview of the night, provided he is still on the line. I cannot actually see him here. And oh, there he is, right in the waiting room. So Thank you, Davey, for hopping in the waiting room, and here he is. Welcome, Davey.
I got you.
Awesome. Welcome, Davey. It was a chaotic race. So much going on. I know tempers were flaring all the way throughout, but in the end, you get the upper hand of just a couple of guys there at the very end. But what a finish there. Curtis Yancey didn't quite have it there out of the final corner. You just got the better run from the outside lane. Kind of talk us through that last lap and what it took to hold him off there at the end.
I think I restarted 15th or so, and I thought more people would pit on that final pit stop. But on that last lap, I think I was still a couple cars behind Curtis. Like, really, my only strategy to try and make up time was just to send it into the corners and try to go around people on the outside. And, we come out of turn 2 on that last lap, and I have Aaron and Yancey in front of me. Aaron said he went low to try and make sure I didn't get below him. And then Yancey just happened to go low to block Aaron at the same time. So that was kind of perfect for me, because I just wanted to send it on the outside anyways to see if I could get around him. And I was lucky enough that we all kept it together and had a drag race to the line, and I was lucky enough to grab it.
Yeah, it was really nice to see a finish that close that stayed so clean. Curtis, I think he tried to put the bumper to you a little bit there at the very end down the straight, but to no avail. You held him off. You took away a great podium, and that'll help you on the overall points. You had already scored pretty well in the first race of the triple header here in the Rogue Energy triple header, so somebody to look at there for Road America if Nick kind of falls off and has an off night. Like things kind of went sour for him at the end of last season's race at Road America, so maybe it'll happen again. But overall tonight, we talked about it just a couple minutes ago, but the word of the night tonight was kind of tension, turmoil. Tonight seemed a little bit chippy. It was a little bit sketchy there on the racetrack. There was all sorts of stuff going on. What was tonight's race like from your perspective? Do you think it's safe to say that tonight was one of the more action-packed and aggressive races we've had in a while?
Thankfully, I never really fell that far back. I think the farthest I fell back was at that last pit stop. So I didn't have to see a lot of the anger going on, but I could definitely hear it either in chat or like either Discord chat or game chat. So it sounded like it was pretty feisty. For me, I felt like it was pretty calm. I would not want to go back and listen to myself at, what was it? We were at Knoxville last week.
Mhm.
Would not want to go back and hear myself there. I was a very, very angry person on that dirt track. So I was happy that I didn't have any real big incidents in this one.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Dirt is not my thing either, and I know I would have probably struggled a little bit tonight in this race too. It looked like it was going to be tough on tires over the longer runs, and luckily didn't have too many of those, so not something you super had to worry about. But Davey, I know you're one of the best in the series when you get a good track that you're really good at. You've seen really great at the 1.5 miles and sort of the intermediate tracks in the past, plus great at the super speedways. You won at Talladega last year. So are there any tracks in the upcoming schedule, maybe Nashville next week, maybe anything in the next couple weeks that you feel will appeal more to your driving style than something like Knoxville did?
I am not cheering for Nashville. That's the short track. I am not a short track dude. Honestly, I consider this kind of a shorter track, and it was not my forte. I'm shocked I got up as high as I did. But Chicago, I love Chicagoland. I think that's just a fun track for a mile and a half. Vegas, I think will be fun. And then Michigan. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a lot of drafting in Michigan, but I feel like with the speeds we go and how big the track is, I think that'll be a pretty good one to tune into too.
It's always been one of my favorites, and there's so many good tracks left to go in this season's series, especially in the playoffs, that I can't wait for that. And speaking of the playoffs, I mean, last season, unfortunately, with the format we had in Season 8, you weren't really eligible for the playoffs. You had some wins in there, but you weren't, unfortunately, able to go for the proper championship. This season, you look like one of the guys that, again, when you get those tracks that you're good at and you get those good days, you are just one of the best out there. You look so comfortable, and you're somebody that proved last season just how volatile they can be for some of these other guys. So from your perspective, you get the third tonight. What is your kind of outlook on the season in terms of your expectations for yourself? What is that point where if you do better than it, you're happy, and if you do any worse, you're a little bit disappointed in yourself? Is it a top 8, making the Final 4, or is it winning the championship?
I mean, we're not here to finish second. We're here to win a championship. So, I mean, obviously I want to win it. Will I? Yet to be seen. There are a lot of fast guys here, and there are a lot of guys that, as consistent as I am, that they're more consistent. Like when I'm finishing third, Nick is always finishing first. So he's always going to be the one to beat. But I fully expect to get to the playoffs. I think I can manage my points, and I think I can manage, being consistent throughout that. I am really worried about round 2 of the playoffs. I hate dirt. Honestly, I'm tempted to just put in a provisional for that race already. I do not want to do it. Darlington's great. I think that's an interesting track and fun to race. But again, then we have a short track, and that I don't do well on short tracks. So if I can get out of round 2, I would be thrilled. But that's my hardest stretch I think I see on the schedule this season.
Well, I have the feeling that if you keep your nose clean, you think about the big picture, and you let your experience and your driving natural skills do the talking, and I'm sure you'll be fine to do equal to that, if not more. You're somebody that in my mind I see as definitely being a top 4, top 8 guy, potentially even a series champion. You proved last year in the Xfinity cars that you had the pace necessary, and this year in the trucks you've looked comfortable again. So 3rd place tonight. It's only going to help build up that resume before we get to the playoffs, and I can't wait to see what you do there with the 21 truck. And I'm starting to associate you more with the M&Ms than I am Kyle Busch, to be honest, because he hasn't run it in a while, and you've been doing really well in your time here in the series. So best of luck to you going forward, Davey. And as you always do in the interviews, you've done this before. Any shout-outs to friends or family, any sponsors you want to mention, or just whatever you want to talk about?
I gotta thank Rogue Energy for sponsoring this. Doing the Triple Crown thing. I think that's like really cool and fun for us to be able to have a Triple Crown like you kind of see in the real truck series. You guys for putting all this on, doing the broadcast every Thursday when I go into school and I'm supposed to be planning for the day. I'm usually watching one of these instead. All the admins for putting it on. I know they hear a bunch of bull crap from us, whether it's me last week or the 3 or 4 people that had issues this week. Everyone watching, all the drivers that showed up, we're 5, 6 races in and we had 40 something trucks show up. I think that's pretty awesome. It's seldom we get that in a lot of leagues. So thanks for the guys showing up. Hopefully we can keep it going for a good while longer.
Yeah, amen to that. We've had great turnouts, and the racing, as chaotic as it can sometimes be, we've had some great finishes, some really competitive racing. So hopefully it keeps going forward, and hopefully you're as actively a part of it as you were tonight. Congratulations, Davey, 3rd place. Let's see if you can, maybe not next week at Nashville, but best of luck to you at Michigan. Maybe you can put the 21 truck up front again.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
And there you go, your final interview of the night with tonight's 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 21 truck and the M&M's entry, always one of my favorite schemes in any series, Mr. Davey Hendricks. And there you go. That'll about round off tonight's race at Milwaukee. We're going to do a few more things, including talking about our sponsor again tonight, Rogue Energy. Thank you again, as always. They're one of the most valuable sponsors we have in the series because of their dedication to commit to 3 races to give us some fun things like trivia, like they did a couple weeks ago. And Alan Castle's a great guy. It's nice to have him kind of facilitating things, and it's such a great brand to shout out. I really do agree with everything that Rogue Energy aspires to be as an energy drink, not just through marketing trying to be the cool option, but genuinely trying to be conscious of what they're putting in people's bodies, not just how they're marketing it. So I give them absolute props. Again, Rogue Energy, here's some more details about the sort of products they offer. So if you want to go check it out, remember to go to rogueenergy.com. The link is, as always, in the description there. You can see it down there on the bottom right corner, or you can just go to the description. You can click it directly. And remember, if you are going to go and buy some stuff on Rogue Energy, which again, you absolutely should, because it's great stuff and they support the series, be sure to use code Castle Esports, as you can see there on our lovely logo, created as always by Mr. Evan Wall. There you go, Castle Esports for 10% off at rogueenergy.com. Just use your code at checkout and you will get some awesome savings on some awesome stuff. And there you go. There is Rogue Energy in tonight's 2nd round of the Triple Crown Challenge. Unfortunately, we will not be able to tally up your points before the end of the broadcast in the mini championship itself. But Nick Nickerson, he was doing well in the first round after Atlanta. He scores the win tonight. You've got to think he's a favorite. And the final round of that triple header is Road America. So he's the guy to beat, but you never know. Could see kind of a dark horse contender sneak up and maybe take it from him there. Keep an eye on maybe Aaron Smith. He finished 5th tonight, and he's always going to be a threat on the road courses. But, well, we'll go to the season schedule here as well. We got to mention what's coming up on the schedule these next couple weeks, coming up on the nearby calendar. We're about halfway through the regular season. Now we get on to Nashville Fairgrounds next week. Then it's Chicagoland the week after that. Michigan the week after that. And then it's Road America for the finale of the Rogue Energy triple header. And well, before we head off tonight, because it's been a long broadcast, and I want to make sure you guys can get to sleep and get home before too long. But Evan, overall, it was an action-packed race. So much seemed to happen, and it wasn't the cleanest at every moment, but it was certainly had some great racing. I think it's just these flatter tracks that don't have a ton of passing opportunities except for the bottom line might give us some trouble. But what was your take on tonight overall, and are you looking forward to next week at Nashville?
Yeah, I think tonight was a great night of racing, a lot of fun racing. it obviously wasn't the most clean race that we've ever had, the most clean track that we've ever been to, but it was still a lot of fun. And I feel like next week is going to be a lot of fun as well at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. I've said plenty of times how much I like that track. Hopefully it's going to be a good race. It's definitely an interesting track. It'll take a while for these guys to figure it out, I believe. At least for some of them to figure it out. It's not... I think it's a lot of fun because it's not necessarily your normal short track. I feel like it'll provide some good racing, assuming that we can go green flag most of the way, which hopefully we'll be able to, even if we don't, though. I feel like it is a track that can provide some good action, and, you know, if it's like any of these other ones, I'm expecting a good finish at the end of the race.
Awesome. Well, we can only wait and see. I'm feeling pretty confident about it as well. I think these short tracks, is some guys don't always love them, but they always make for fun finishes, and, man, it'll be so good to see you make your debut, Evan. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just excited overall. So tune in next week, as always, in the Bandit Racing League for the 8th round of the season at the Nashville Fairgrounds, sponsored by our very own Evan Wall. So looking forward to seeing what we can get done there, and I'm sure we'll come up with something fun for the fairground-themed race there at Nashville Fairgrounds. But that'll bring tonight's race to a close. Thank you, as always, guys, for watching in the Rogue Energy Triple Crown second round at Milwaukee Mile tonight, and Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League, broadcast live here, as always, on Full Send Racing Network. Tune in next Wednesday for the 8th round, and we'll see you very shortly. Thank you all, as always, ladies and gentlemen, for watching.
Absolutely.